All right, welcome everybody to the rare and mythic portion of the set review for Marvel Superheroes for Draft and Sealed and Limited and all that. We are here on day 2. We did the commons uncommons yesterday, so if you missed that, go check that out. We've got a bunch of videos up already for that. But yeah, we're just gonna jump into the rares today. Mark, before we get into the cards, anything you want to go over, reiterate from yesterday's review?
Not too much. I mean, we covered almost 5 hours of discussion yesterday, which is a lot, even for someone as invested in Magic as we are, and some of your fans, I'm sure, as well. So, just before we dive in, I will kind of just remind people about what we sort of look for with the rares and mythics, because I think this set's going to be kind of interesting, and I almost think the last few play boosters have more been defined by uncommons. I have a feeling this might be more defined by rares, which sounds like a criticism, but like almost in a the rares are the uncommons type of thing, if that makes any sense.
From like a pure power level perspective, you mean?
Yeah, in terms of just like you need something to guide your picks and be like, this is the kind of
Mm,
synergy package I'm going to build towards. And I think because there's not as many of those at uncommon, it's more likely in this format for your first pick to be a rare, and then that'll kind of be like the thing that says, okay, I'm going to build towards these synergies.
right. Yeah, no, I can definitely see that.
And just so there were the 10 archetypes yesterday, like some of the color pairs archetypes are a little bit blurry, but I did make a list a week ago or so of all of the types of things you can get paid off for in this set because I was like, well, okay, blue red is artifacts. That one's like fairly well supported. And then there's heroes and villains. But there's so many other things aside from those maybe big three. So there's like a bunch of equipment matters cards. There's rewards for casting non-creature spells. There was rewards for +1/+1 counters. There's rewards for drawing your second card. There's rewards for attacking alone based on the power of your creature, having creatures in your graveyard, targeting your own creatures with spells, having your creatures be dealt damage, having things become tapped, having tokens enter play, merfolk, discarding cards, powering up, landfall, life gain, and then there's a couple. Those are all at least more than one card, and then there's a
Right.
bunch of things that are just like single payoffs as well. So that's way more than 10 things.
Yeah, and some of those you mentioned, you are kind of captured by the intended WotC color pairs they put out, and I'd say like half the things you said aren't. So yeah, lots of just like things you could care about in this set, which is good. I think that's like often pretty interesting. Means the set has a little bit of longevity. You know, week 3, week 4, you can still do things you maybe haven't done yet.
Yeah, and that was actually listed from like most payoffs to least, and
Mm,
aside from the big three, like artifacts, heroes, and villains, the equipment matters cards. There's only 10 of them, so that goes from 10 all the way down to two. So
right.
like these are really just a sprinkling, and some of them do have like overlap because if you're targeting your creatures with spells and boosting their power, that could pay you off in two different types of ways. But just when we go into the rares today, I'm kind of looking for which of these themes have cards that are powerful enough to make me say, yes, I'm gonna, have my 17th to 23rd card be cards that support this theme because I'm looking to get paid off for this type of activity.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great little intro. And why don't we just jump in? First card on the list, we're gonna go with rares and then mythics, just to paint a bit of a better picture of the cards you're more likely to see pretty often. So Nick Fury, Agent of Shield, is a single white mana for a 2/1 legendary hero with a power-up ability. This is 5 mana Wooburg, so one of each color. Look at the top two, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Nick Fury, then look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a hero, equipment, or vehicle card from among them onto the battlefield. If it's a double-faced card, you may transform it. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, which there are some double-faced cards we're going to get to today. There were none at common and uncommon, though. Only live at Mythic, I think. So, a Savannah Lion, a 2-mana 2/1, that in some decks, I assume at some point in the format, some people are going to activate this power-up ability. But how do we feel about just like vanilla 2/1 with hero subtype, first of all?
I think that's already fine. Like it helps you with your teamwork costs, and like some of the white decks are presumably going to be fairly aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
So if we are calling it a slower format where people are just like land cycling on turn two, if this thing can get in for like 6 damage, it's going to really add up at the end of the game. And I don't think that power up is totally out of the question either. Like, there's not a huge amount of fixing, but we did see that land yesterday that filters
True.
5 colorless mana into mana of any combination of colors.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So, just balancing that all out with, like, most of the time it's a 1 mana 2/1. Sometimes you care about the ability. What do we give it?
I both gave it a C plus.
Agent Phil Coulson. So this is 1 and a white for a 2/2 legendary hero at rare. He's got Vigilance and the ability tap, put a +1/+1 counter on each other hero you control. All right, this kind of card, like, we've seen variants of this kind of card before. This is, of course, a like hero version of Steel Overseer. Is that it? The artifact one? And this effect, really powerful. Thing's a must kill.
Yeah, and this is like just exactly what I was talking about. So there is a lot of support for heroes, but interestingly, the heroes are mostly in white for this. Some of the cards on the list I just talked about aren't focused in 2 colors. They go across 3, 4, or even 5 colors.
Right.
So there's really, I'm kind of, we're doing this thing where we talk a lot in the preamble and then we'll fly through the cards a lot later. But there's really some interesting design choices here, including the number of rares and mythics for both monocolor and multicolor are not balanced. Like, there's not an even number of white rares, blue rares, black rares, red rares, and there's not an even number of Golgari, Simic, and Boros payoffs either. So it's, you got to think that's intentional, but this card is great. It rewards you for heroes. It's a very strong card. We both gave it an A minus.
Next up is Super Soldier Serum. 1 and a white for an aura. It says enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has first strike and vigilance and is a legendary soldier in addition to its other types. When the enchanted creature attacks or blocks, attach any number of target equipment you control to it. So another card that I think we can evaluate mostly based on one of the lines of text and probably not as much on the second one. How much do we like 2 mana +2/+2 first strike vigilance aura?
It's like an okay common.
Yeah, basically like a common you might play in your most aggressive decks. We did talk quite a bit about equipment yesterday, and like you mentioned, even at the top of today, just there is a slight equipment sub theme, so like it's gonna come up once in a while, that second line of text, but mostly looking at that first part there.
Well, yeah. So I talked about how there being 10 payoffs for equipment. I mean, this is one of them, which is barely kind of counts.
Yeah.
But it also matters how much equipment you actually want to play, right? Like,
Right.
if you get paid off for it, it doesn't matter if you're not going to put any of them in your deck.
Yeah, exactly. So I think fairly low grade on this one. What did we give it?
You gave it a D plus. I was a little lower at a D.
Next is Origin of the Avengers. So we have sagas in this set. This is the first one. 1 and a white. This first chapter says Scry 2. Second chapter says you may put a hero card with mana value 3 or less from your hand onto the battlefield. If you don't, you draw a card. And chapter 3, you put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So this is not one of those like sagas you read and you're like, whoa, that's so good. Like a bunch of value over time, just clearly a good card. This one's a little more like, all right, some efficiency here. We've got a cheap package of cheap package of effects that if they all line up nicely, you feel pretty good, but also not necessarily always great when you cast it. How do you feel about this one?
I always talk in these reviews about how my favorite grade for the majority of the rares is hopefully to give them somewhere between like a B minus and an A minus. And this is like exactly what I'm talking about. This card seems pretty solid. I am curious, how often do you think you're going to want to do either half of the second chapter there?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, okay, the first mode, like it's most likely when you play it early, you're going to put a creature into play, and then if you don't play it on turn 2 or turn 3, I think you're just going to draw a card. Because at that point, you're going to have mana, you can probably cast most of your hand. So, yeah, I think it's like, if you're opening hand, you don't draw the card, is kind of how I see it. And sometimes you will, actually, though. So, I guess most of the time, you draw the card.
You kind of get to choose if, like, obviously sometimes you won't have the choice because you won't have a legal target to put into play.
Yeah.
But assuming you do, you kind of get to choose if you want to play like more of a value game or more of a tempo game.
True.
Because like you're down a card if you don't draw off the second chapter. But like Scry 2 on turn 2, On turn 3, you drop 2 creatures into play, so you kind of caught up for like not playing anything on turn 2, and then on turn 4, you're getting that like bump to your board. It's that can put people under a lot of pressure pretty quickly.
Yeah, like I don't dislike this card or anything. It's just like might be slightly variable in how good it is.
Yeah. So we both gave Origins of the Avengers a B.
Yeah. Next up we've got Captain America Wings of Freedom, which is 2 and a white for a 3/1 legendary hero. Flying first strike in Ward 1. Whenever Captain America attacks, each other hero you control gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is Captain America's toughness. Okay, so 3 mana 3/1, flying first strike. Great stat line. Like, one of the things that kind of sucks about flyers most of the time, cheap ones anyways, is they don't block almost at all, right? They're just like very pure, poor blockers. This is a really good blocker. And yeah, pumping the team, even if it's just that native 1, that's good. Really, not a lot to dislike about this one.
It's interesting that between this and Phil Coulson, like there are 2 very strong white rares that both reward you for having a lot of heroes.
Yeah.
So anytime there's multiple rares in a color that push you in a certain direction, like I do think the hero deck's going to be heroes and or villains are going to be some of the main themes, which you can't blame them for that whatsoever.
That is a really nice curve, by the way. Those 2 cards you mentioned, like the agent into this card, and this just like grows and grows and pumps your team larger. Yeah.
What about?
So good. Yeah.
Sorry. What about Agent Phil Coulson into the blue-white signpost?
Agent Phil Coulson into the blue-white sign. Oh, yeah, gets to untap. Oh yeah, his activated ability. Yeah, that's something we didn't mention with Agent. Is just like there are a few things that let you untap activated abilities, or just like untap a creature. And we mentioned lots of activated abilities in this set. So yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and also again, this kind of works with some of the like if you take up the shield this because they're presumably trying to kill it, then all your heroes then get +2/+2 the following turn. So this thing can be a real nightmare to deal with.
Yeah, like this is actually, sometimes there's the game state you get into where it's like, should I cast my removal spell on my turn or my opponent's turn? You're likely going to want to kill it on your turn anyways, because it's just a very good card that you don't want your opponent to untap with, but like especially so because of that ability. Like if you go to burn this and they cast a pump spell in response, well yeah, that's just a nightmare. So grades.
We also gave Captain America a A- from both of us.
Next up is a weird one, kind of tricky to evaluate. The Sentry Golden Guardian. 3 and a white for a legendary hero. It's a 5/5 vigilant flying indestructible. Okay, so what's the downside here? If you are used to card evaluation, that's a little bit too good for 4 mana. When it enters, target opponent creates the Void, a legendary 5/5 black horror villain creature token with flying, indestructible, and the Void attacks each combat if able. So you're getting an above rate creature with good abilities, but and it also kind of bricks their 5/5 that you're giving them, because this has indestructible, but really, really bad if this gets dealt with some other way. If they exile it, if they lock it down with a blue enchantment, if they web it up, it gets that's the Banishing Light variant in this set. So yeah, what do you think about this one?
I did a search. This card like really interested me, so I actually did a search to see how many commons like answered it from either side, because both token and main thing are indestructible, so it needs to be basically the same set of cards.
Yeah.
And there are 6 commons that answer this pretty cleanly between exile and bounce and tuck effects, which to me is just a little too many to be like willing to take the risk.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like if you said 3, it'd be like, okay, like yeah, maybe, but 6 is so many. Also, notably, there's not a ton of ways to make this like, ooh, I really got my opponent. I gave them 5/5 and then I bounced it, right? Because quite a few of the bounce effects in this set say non-token as well. So yeah, I think it averages out to not worth the squeeze, right?
Yeah, it does create interest because your opponent's forced to attack with the 5/5, and you're kind of like priced into blocking that 5/5, right? So it kind of can't block in a sense. So you basically get to decide if they attack with more than just the token. Do you want to eat 5 to the face to eat one of their, other creatures.
Right.
So there is some interesting like gameplay here, and I kind of like this design. I'm just a little too nervous, especially with 3 of the cards that answer it being blue at common. And I think there's going to be a lot of blue decks in the format. I gave this a D plus. You gave it a C minus.
Yeah, I get the vibe that the average is not a favorable exchange for you, but yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's like maybe there's like a card that we have forgotten about that plays particularly nice with this. If you have it, you can like include it in your deck. But yeah, starting low. Next up, we've got blue cards. So starting with the Wanderous. Oh, wait, that's not right. We're starting with Mythics. Let's go there first. Okay. Sorry, still getting used to this. Okay. That's going to bring us on to the white Mythics. So the first one here is Jennifer Walters, which is 1 and a white for a 2/3 legendary hero. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn, and you can pay 3 green, white to transform Jennifer Walters. Activate this only as a sorcery. Backside is the Sensational She-Hulk, 3 green, white, 6/6, reach trample. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. Whenever a creature you control is dealt damage, you may have the Sensational She-Hulk deal damage to any target. Do this only once each turn. This side is also a hero for what it's worth. And this is not just a transforming card. This is one of those transforming cards that you can actually cast either sides of them. That's what the flip cards are in this set. So you can cast the 2 mana side, pay 6, flip it to the back mana side at some point. Or if you top deck this card late, you just cast the 6 mana side. That totally works. So, yeah, lots of text. Thoughts on this card?
It's pretty nice. It is nice that like the front side it assumes that it's a white card, and then the back side is also like the double pip is also white, so you can play this in like basically any heavy white deck and splash the green instead of it needing to be like I could have seen them saying like, oh, the front side's going to be the white card and then the back side will be green white to make it more like evenly split, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you can just splash this in a white deck and be pretty happy with it.
Yeah, totally. It's interesting that this is like a not mono, a green-white card that deals direct damage to the face, right? Like that, if I'm reading this correctly, she can deal damage to the face. Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Pretty good though. Although again, there are plenty of non-damage ways. Like we just talked about the indestructible thing. Those cards plus more will apply to this as well. We both gave it a B minus.
Yeah, seems like a good card. Next up is the Mind Stone. 1 and white for a legendary artifact, Infinity Stone. Indestructible. Taps to add white. Also has the ability 5 and a white, tap it to harness the Mind Stone, which says once harnessed, its infinity ability is activated, and its infinity ability is at the beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 other target non-land permanent you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. So we've got a 2-mana rock that has a pretty solid mana sink on it. Like, it's gonna do good stuff once you do it. Not necessarily like, oh, I do this and now I just ride this to victory for the end of the game. But it's a relevant ability. How much do you think we like a 2-mana white mana rock, though?
I started pretty high on this. Just because there wasn't a ton of 2-drops, and there does seem to be a lot of things to sink your mana into. I dropped it down a bit just because there's less like ETBs in the set, so there's less things for you to be happy like getting value from when you do decide to harness it.
Right.
Like even the white token maker being a sorcery instead of a creature, so you can't like make more tokens, is pretty annoying for this. Although you can like draw cards with a 3-drop, but yeah, it'd be nice to have some more like board presence you could flicker off of this too.
Yeah, totally. Like that, we had the black one in the Spider-Man set. That one was like reanimate a creature each turn. Like that's a really good, pretty reliable effect. This one's a lot more deck dependent. Still think you're going to be interested in it sometimes. Like you have a fairly heavy 4-drop slot or 5-drop slot. Maybe it's like, your white aggressive decks, this is maybe not the 2-drop of choice, but I think you'll play it once in a while. And your slower decks, I think you're going to be okay with it. It's not like, oh my god, slam it Mythic, but I think you're going to play this card once in a while.
Yep, I'm with you there. I gave it a C minus. You gave it a C.
Next up is Monica Rambeau, which is 2 and a white for a 3/3 legendary hero, flying and prowess. Okay, so that's a fine front side. She's also got the transform ability of 2 red, white, white to transform her. Backside is Photon Living Light. 2 red, white, white for a 4/4 legendary hero with flying, hexproof, and prowess. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. Okay, we talked yesterday about there are a lot of Sarah Angels in this set, a lot of 5 mana 4/4 flyers. This is the mother of all of them. Like, this is actually a really good, bordering on busted one.
I'm just thankful that it's Mythic. Like, that's the one thing I'll say. Like, did I wish this didn't exist? Probably, because like these cards kind of just end games instantly, especially if we are right about the overall format being like a little bit lower power.
Uh-huh.
There's also, like, we just went through all the white rares. There's no Wrath in the set. There's no Sweepers. There's no Edict yesterday. So it's really almost impossible to answer this thing when it comes down on the backside there.
Yeah, pretty crazy. I think, like, unless you absolutely have to, you probably don't even cast the front side, right? Like, usually the litmus
Yeah,
test is like,
if you have nothing to do turn 3, I think you do, but otherwise you try your best not to.
right, I mean, that's what I was gonna get at. Like, usually that's my litmus test. Like, okay, do you, like, if you have nothing else to do, do you still cast this? I think there's some games and some hands where you're still just not going to, right? Like, if you're not under that much pressure, your opponent's not playing anything on 2, I think you just wait, probably.
Yeah, if you already have the mana, I could definitely, like, if you know you'll be able to do it on turn 5, I
Yeah,
could definitely see that being the case.
yeah, for sure. Anyways, grade on this one?
Pretty easy A plus from both of
Yep.
us.
Next up is Captain America Super Soldier. 1 white white for a 3/2 legendary hero. It's got first strike and enters with a shield counter on him. And if you never play with shield counters, they're a counter that says if he would be dealt damage or destroyed, remove a shield counter from him instead. And as long as Captain America has a shield counter on him, you and other heroes you control have hexproof. So if you didn't play Streets of New Capenna with shield counters, you might not quite see immediately from reading this card just how good a shield counter is on a creature with first strike. Because it's so difficult for this thing to get that shield counter off of it, right? Like, you need a creature. Basically, this needs to like block a 4/4. You have to have a 4/4, and they're not going to attack into your 4/4, and so you have to point a removal spell at it. Most likely in combat, it's not. You're not going to take the counter off probably. So this thing is sticky.
Yeah, so notably with shield, like, you can bounce this to delay it. You can exile it, which are
Mm-hmm.
obvious. You can also give it like -X to kill it. So
That's
there was
right.
that uncommon yesterday. The -4/-4 would do the trick, which is a little like counterintuitive sometimes if you're not really sure with how these damage prevention things work. But if your opponent doesn't have any of those, they're in for a heck of a headache with this thing.
There's also a couple cards in the set that put a counter of the same type that a creature already has on it. So like there's that green common 3/3 that taps to do that, and shield counters stack. So you have to, if they put more shield counters on, you have to like be like, okay, get through that one and then the next one and then the next one. How many ever they can put on. So just, yeah, really efficient card. Seems good. What do we like for a grade?
You gave this an A. I gave it an A minus.
Next up is Avengers Assemble with an exclamation mark. 4 and a white for an enchantment at Mythic. These are all Mythics, actually. Flash. Heroes you control get +2/+2. At the beginning of each end step, if you attacked with a hero this turn, or a hero entered the battlefield under your control this turn, draw a card. Yeah, that is wildly good. We've had this card without that line of text, that hero line, just 5 mana flash, anthem to the team, +2/+2. That was like way back when in Theros, Dictate of Heliod. That card was great, one of the best cards in that format. I imagine this card, even 15 years later, as long as you had that second line of text, still going to be phenomenal.
Well, I think like the +2/+2 statically, we had that more recently, and it wasn't like super impressive. But adding the card advantage makes a big difference to this.
Yes, yeah. Did we have it recently? What's the most recent version of this? I can't remember another one.
I cannot remember, but
Yeah.
Turtle Power chat is
Oh,
saying.
turtle power? Sure. But like, there's way
Only,
more heroes in this set than there were turtles in that set, right?
I feel like there was another one maybe, but it might be my mind playing tricks on me. There's been so many sets recently; it's easy to lose track. And this will anthem almost all your white creatures and most of your non-black creatures as well. So it's
Yeah.
pretty easy for this to be like a huge blowout.
Yeah, I kind of shortcutted it to your whole team, but worth noting, yes, not all of your creatures are going to be heroes all the time.
Yep.
But still, yeah, great card. Seems like the turn you cast this, you're probably going to get a combat, favorable combat, if not just kill them, and then, yeah, hard uphill battle for the opponent past that.
And we both gave it an A.
Next up is Captain Marvel, Earth's Protector. So this is 3 white for a legendary hero. 5/4 flash flying lifelink. Power up for 5 white. Put a +1/+1 counter and an indestructible counter on Captain Marvel. Pretty straightforward card, but this is just like your classic excellent limited card. Giant lifelinking flying card. Flash can get indestructible. Yeah, not much to talk about here.
Yeah, this is. I don't think you need to wait till 7 mana for this, just because like
No.
ambushing a creature on 5 is enough to swing the board with like 10 points of life gain because you're going to block and then you're going to attack. This card just seems pretty great overall, and we both gave it an A.
Okay, we're going to go on to blue now. So Wanderous Wasp is the first blue card. Back to rares. 1 in blue for a legendary hero. It's a 2/1 flash flyer, and when it enters, tap up to 1 target creature. It loses all abilities for as long as the Wanderous Wasp remains in the battlefield. Okay, cool. Like, nice little tempo card. 2 mana, 2/1 flash flying. That's fine. Hero type, that's cool. Losing all abilities is, ranges from not relevant at all to quite relevant. Sometimes cards are like, you're playing the card for the ability, not for its power and toughness. And even if you don't target something that's like, oh, great, take that thing's ability away. Getting a blocker out of the way or saving a little bit of life with that tap ability, that's still good.
But even just like there's so many flyers and reach creatures in the format that, like, especially the flyers, because they're kind of understated due to flying, turning their, whatever Sarah Angel with whatever upside it has into just like a 4/4 is pretty nice. And
Yeah.
then it also means this thing's more likely to be able to get in because it has flying, and whatever they have that can block it is probably no longer a concern for you.
Yeah, just a nice little card. Not overly powerful or anything, but card you're going to first pick a decent amount, I think.
We both like it. It's got a B- from us both.
Next up is Loki, God of Mischief. This is like Loki's 4th card in the set. This is 1 in a blue for a legendary villain. He's a 2/1. And he says, whenever a player or permanent becomes the target of an ability you control, just ability, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Did you do a count for this, Mark? I'm curious. I didn't do a count for this, but...
I did not.
Okay.
There's like obviously the traveling ministers one that comes to mind is one you can do every turn, or also the green thing that like adds counters to things. So there are a few tap things, but also this works with equipment too.
Oh, yeah, I didn't take that in. That's a good point.
So I think there's going to be enough ways that you can get cards reasonably reliably from this, and it's a card I'm pretty interested in.
Yeah, like if it's supported, it's obviously good. Like 2/1 that draws you a card every turn. I guess what's the number you'd want to happily play Loki? Because if you don't trigger it, it's just a 2 mana 2/1. That sucks. So like, I don't know, 4 or 5?
Yeah, I was thinking about 5. I think
Yeah.
that sounds about right.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're there, what do you want to give it?
We both gave it a C.
Next up is Miss Marvel Kamala Khan, which is 2 in a blue for a legendary hero. 1/4 Vigilant Reach. You have no max hand size, and whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card. Until end of turn, Miss Marvel's base power and toughness is equal to the number of cards in your hand. Okay, so a bit of a build around here to some degree, because like this isn't like repartee; it's specifically your things, and blue has actually a few tricks now that I think about it. I was gonna say blue doesn't have that many tricks, but it does have the 3 mana make a thing a 4/4 flyer, draw a card. It also has Pim Particles, the make something unblockable, vigilant, draw a card. So blue's got some tools in there.
This is more of a red-white theme. Like this is what I talk about there being like bleed across themes for a lot of them. Also, notably, someone pointed out the you have no maximum hand size is like a real flavor win on this card.
Oh, because like she
Just
can make her hand
the hand
gigantic.
grows and like
I see.
elongates. So
I see.
it's like you get the joke once it's punching you in the face, pun intended.
But
But yeah, I think if you like the body's not it's not great, but like for something that has that much upside, it's not a horrible body.
no, yeah, not horrible. But like it's kind of the same as Loki, where if you're not triggering it, it's like you just would never want this card in your deck.
Right, but it's also a lot of these cards your opponents don't know how many things you have for them, right?
Sure,
So
yeah. So your opponent might just like want to kill this, is what you're saying?
yeah, like from your opponent's perspective, both this and Loki are like terrifying cards, and they have to use whatever their premium removal spell on it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I guess the like most of the color pairings also give you some decent targeting stuff. Like white also obviously has good tricks. Red's got a few good ones. Yeah, I think in most color combinations this is just going to be a fine card.
Both red and green have like fight/punch spells they can
Yeah,
do as well.
totally, totally. Okay, yeah, I'm warming up to this.
Yeah, well,
What?
we gave it a decent grade. We both gave it a C plus.
Yeah, yeah. I just like might even bump that up a little bit. I think maybe could be underrating it. But yeah, C plus seems good for now. Also, kind of funny. This is the second blue card in the set with reach. That's not something you see very often. I guess it's like the characters that have long, stretchy arms. It's like this and Mr. Fantastic. So yeah, just
But a lot of the superheroes are flying too, so I think
true.
there's reach everywhere,
That's true.
and that gave them permission to print the preening champion because there's, I think the air will be very crowded in this set.
Yes, I think that's true as well. Shield Flying Car is up next. 2 and a blue for a 3/3 flying flash vehicle with crew 1. When it enters, exile up to one target creature you control. Return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Okay, so maybe saves a creature that's getting targeted by a removal spell. Maybe blinks a creature with an battlefield effect. Although, like you said a few minutes ago, there's not all that many of those in this set. Good rate though, like 3/3 flash flying crew 1. Like I think that's just pretty good.
It's crew one for your blue plan.
That's true. My blue plan that wants you to tap creatures. I like that.
You can even hold full control and tap the creature you're flickering to get an extra plane counter before it
Mm.
leaves the plane and comes back.
True, true. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. There you go. This is a one
Yeah,
card combo.
we're doing it all today. Yeah, I like this card overall. I don't think it's going to be that likely to save something because if you're holding up 3 mana as a blue deck, your opponent's not just going to be like, "Oh, surely they have like nothing," and I'll just play as if I'm got my free
Mm-hmm.
pass to do anything. But yeah, it'll still be useful most of the time. It's a pretty good size creature. We both gave it a B minus.
Yeah, it seems very similar just to the Sky Coach or the what's it called Sky Coach Conductor from Strixhaven. Like does a similar thing, similar size. So that card ended up being about a B minus. Next up, we've got Secret Invasion. Cool card here. 1 blue blue for an aura. Enchant creature you control. When this creature enters, exile up to one target creature other than an enchanted creature until this aura leaves the battlefield. The enchanted creature becomes a copy of that creature until this aura leaves the battlefield, and the enchanted creature has Ward 2. Okay, so yeah, you get to take somebody's identity for as long as this is on the battlefield. Gives you a little bit of protection. This is one of the blue cards that actually can hit tokens. So, if you have your white 5/5 flying indestructible, give your opponent a token, like this will do it. But yeah, it's an interesting one. What do you think about it?
It's also up to 1, so if you just really want to give something Ward 2, you can give something Ward
You
2.
may. That's true. You may.
I think the card's pretty sweet. It kind of reminds me. I don't know why. I'm usually pretty good with card names, but when we start talking about a new set, everything old goes out the window for me.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of the Duskmourn white enchantment a little bit.
Oh, what's it called? Sheltered by Ghosts. Correct? That
Yes,
one?
there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, very similar. I mean, Lifelink's big. It's a whole mana more, but yeah, like similar play patterns for sure.
But this, like, if you're playing the preening champion and you just have like a token lying around, and you exile their Sarah Angel and turn your token into like a 4/4 flying Ward 2 creature,
Yeah.
It's like a really big swing on
That's
a blue
nice.
card.
Yeah, that is really, really nice. Yeah, card seems good.
Yep, I was a little higher than you on this one. I gave it a B. You gave it a B minus.
Next up is Leader Super Genius. 2 blue blue for a legendary villain. A 1/3. If a creature you control would connive, instead you draw a card, and then that creature connives. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control connives. What a ridiculous card. This card is crazy.
This is one of the like either the best or second best rare, like not mythic included in the set. Like this thing is extremely powerful.
Yeah. Like, draws a card immediately, draws a card every turn, card selection every turn on top of that draw, stats if you want it every turn on top of all that. Like, must kill. If you don't kill this right away, I think your chances of losing just plummet. And it's like, and when I say right away, I mean you get the privilege of killing it when you untap. They probably have already drawn a card off of it.
Yeah, you just really want to avoid lightning strike, and then you're off to the races.
Yeah, I definitely want to just like sneak it in there. So yeah, I went back and forth with this one between A plus and A. I landed on A. I could see it reaching that level, but in any case, one of the best cards in the set.
And I am exactly there with you too.
Next up is Ironheart Clever Champion. This is 4 and a blue for a legendary hero artifact creature. 3/4 with Improvise, which means you can tap your artifacts to help pay for this card. Each artifact you tap pays for 1 of the mana. So it's kind of like Convoke, but just for artifacts instead. She's got flying, and non-creature spells you cast have Improvise. Kind of reads more like uncommon to me. Like, it's fine. I don't think this is amazing. This is also a set with like a healthy helping of artifacts, but they're not just like running around all over the place. So I don't expect you to power this out super duper early or anything.
Yeah, there's very little trinkety stuff. Like
Yeah,
you can tap equipment, which is kind of
yeah,
nice.
it's free to do.
But like, yeah, no, not. We talked about this yesterday. Not a huge theme of any particular type of artifact token, or stuff that you can just readily play and leave around to sacrifice. So yeah, I do read this also as an uncommon. I gave it a D plus. You gave it a C minus.
Yeah, especially because like there's so many 4/4 flyers. Right? I think 3/4
Yes.
flyers gonna land in a pretty bad spot. All right, moving on to the blue mythics. Bruce Banner up first is 1 blue mana for a 1/1 legendary hero. XX tap, draw X cards, activate that only as a sorcery. 2 red green green, transform Bruce Banner, activate that only as a sorcery. And the backside is the Incredible Hulk. 2 red green green, 8/8 trample legendary hero, also with reach too. Enrage, when the Incredible Hulk is dealt damage, put a +1/+1 counter on him, and if he's attacking, untap him, and there's an additional combat phase after this phase. So just like gigantic creature that is gonna kill you real quickly, and the front side draws cards. It's not even like that inefficient to draw a card. Like 2 mana draw a card, that's not so bad.
Yeah, I think I could just see that doing on turn 2. Like play this turn 1, turn 2, draw a card.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me, like, maybe slightly weird comparison, kind of reminds me of the play patterns with Library of Alexandria, right? Where it's like, if it's in your opening hand, you just kind of like draw a card for as long as you can. Maybe you're not affecting the board, but like, as long as the opponent isn't pressuring you wildly, you're just like, all right, draw a card, draw a card, draw a card. Yeah, card seems nice.
I kind of like the blue side more than the Gruul side.
Yeah, me too. I was waiting for like some like insane over the top ability, like, oh yeah, that's such a good ability. And like, don't get me wrong, it's not bad or anything, but I almost expected like 1 additional line of text.
I do think that this one, if you're playing blue, even like blue green or blue red,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't really worry about trying to play the backside of this. And if you're in red green, I wouldn't really worry about trying to play the front side of this. Like you can almost treat it as 2 separate cards.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask about that because that is interesting. The last flip card we saw, She-Hulk, like you mentioned, you can splash that easy. It was white, green. I guess here it's more like maybe you put a blue source in your deck or two if it's like somewhat free in your red green deck. But yeah, it's really hard to splash like red or green. In any case,
It's also a card you kind of want to play earlier. Like It's not great as a top deck. Well, like,
Mm,
it's still good, but they they can answer it kind of right away, and it's not adding a lot of stats to the board. So you need to survive like a whole nother turn to really punish them for this. So
right.
on the splash as a blue card, I'm not like super excited about it either.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
You gave this a B plus. I gave it a B.
We've got Tony Stark up next. This is 1 in a blue for a 1/3 legendary hero. One tap, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You can reveal an artifact, put one of them into your hand, put the rest in the bottom in any order, or random order. 4 blue red, transform Tony Stark. Backside is the Invincible Iron Man. This is 5/5 flying haste legendary artifact creature hero. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you can put an artifact card from your hand onto the battlefield, and if it's an equipment, you can attach it to Iron Man. Okay.
Another random equipment payoff. Sure, like why
Yeah?
not?
Sure, why not? So the front side is quite good if your deck can support it. Like if you've got, I don't know, 10 artifacts, you're pretty likely to hit on each of these looks. Like 4 cards is quite a few. So
Yeah,
it's pretty close to draw a card, draw an artifact.
yeah. It's interesting how these flip cards are all slightly different because this one I'd just be, like with Monica Rambo, it's if you can't play the red side, you feel like the front side's still good, but you feel disappointment if you can't get red
Right.
sources into your deck. This one I'm fine just playing as a blue card if
Yeah.
you have the artifacts.
Yeah, and I guess it's more likely than not that you will be in blue red. Although maybe not. Maybe you have like heavy blue, blue white decks once in a while. There are some artifacts in blue. I
Yeah,
can see that.
yeah. Totally with you there. You were a little lower than me on this one, actually. You gave it a B. I gave it a B plus.
Yeah. Yeah, I think kind of the same with the backside of the Hulk, like we mentioned. Like the backside here, Iron Man, it's fine. It's a hasty 5/5 flyer, but yeah, I think you're gonna keep it on the front side sometimes.
Yeah, this is more one that you're probably gonna play and then flip later.
Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a fair point. Namor the Submariner is up next. This is 1 blue blue for a legendary villain. We're at the oh yeah, sorry, still at the Mythics. I thought we were looking at rares for a second. All these words are confusing me. This is star for flying. Power and toughness, or sorry, power equal to the number of merfolk you control, including himself. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell with 1 or more blue mana symbols in its cost, create that many 1/1 blue merfolk soldier tokens, or creature tokens. So this is a, you know, one, if you cast like a counter spell, 1 blue blue, you get 2 tokens. If you cast Essence Scatter, just using, common card names, you get a 1/1. Always a 1/4 flyer. Interesting card. Yeah, I think it's powerful, but not like overly powerful, and you have to do a little bit of work.
Which I'm totally fine with. Like this, I'm glad not every mythic is like a slam dunk, I win the game button. That's a good thing.
Yeah. It is kind of funny that if our prediction is right and then blue is the best color, the better your deck is, because you have a lot of good blue cards in it, the better this card gets. So, yeah, you might actually, if things are balanced, you're drafting in a pod where people know blue is good, this card actually might be a little bit worse.
Notably, like the common I'm thinking of that's double blue is Atlantis attacks, which seems very flavorful.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one. Let's
But
make
yeah,
a...
we both like this enough. We both gave Namor a C.
Next up, we've got Kang the Conqueror. 2 blue blue for a 4/5 flying villain. Power up ability. 5 blue blue blue. Put a +1/+1 counter on Kang. Take an extra turn after this one. During this turn, power up abilities cannot be activated. So you can't find some way to loop this. Yeah, okay. So 4 mana, 4/5 flying. No protection, no enter the battlefield, but it's a good blocker. It hits pretty hard. I'm not too pressed about that. And yeah, randomly time walk sometimes.
Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe if you do this on their turn, you will not get 2 turns in a row.
Put a +1/+1 counter, take an extra turn after this one. If you do this on their turn, you do, I think, right? Because you take that extra turn and then it goes to your turn. Yeah, Chad seems to think that's the way it works too.
You do? Okay. I
Yeah.
thought that like the extra turn would still end and then go back to being their turn because it's not extra at that point?
No, I don't think so. I think like whenever you take an extra turn, it's just like, okay, we'll just slot. If it says next, like take an extra turn, then that's the next thing to happen. The game kind of just slots it in, and when you're done that turn, business as usual, which would just go back to
Okay.
your turn normally.
But in that case, it's even nicer than I thought because I thought you to get the 2 turns in a row, you had to do it on your turn. But
Gotcha.
I
Yeah.
definitely could be wrong on that. It's low confidence.
So this card is a card that benefits from. We actually didn't mention this explicitly yesterday, but there's that 2 mana, 2/3 artifact creature that adds blue mana. That can only be spent on can't be spent on non-artifact spells. So that works with power-up abilities. This is an expensive power-up ability that you might want to pair with that card.
Or the green uncommon that adds mana equal to its power, where it's the 3/5.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
Yeah, this card seems pretty sweet. We both gave it a B plus, and I could see it even climbing into the A minus range.
We've got Multiversal Incursion up next. 5 blue for a sorcery. For each non-token creature you control, create a token that is a copy of that creature, except it isn't legendary. Okay, pretty big, flashy, over-the-top effect. Getting to 7 is not trivial, and having a board at that point also isn't trivial, because if you're getting to 7, you have to block sometimes. But I still think there's something going on here. I think this is still a card you should consider.
Yeah, so blue has a lot of powerful spells, which is already going to reduce your creature count a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then blue is also making like a good number of token creatures between Atlantis attacks,
Sure.
the preening champion, the 3/4 Hawkeye or whatever it is that makes the 1/1 bird. Like there's going to be creatures that do not get copied when you cast this.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So if you copy 3 things, like say you have 3 creatures, like a 2-drop, a 5-drop, and a 3, just to have a decent spread. I think you're getting your 7 mana's worth. I think you feel pretty good about that.
For sure.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, and that seems
Can you
reasonable to me. Sorry, go ahead.
like if you're at the spot where you're on turn 7 in a blue deck and you have 3 creatures on board, you're probably already in like a somewhat decent spot anyways, though.
Yeah, but then it pulls you ahead. Like, I think there's some value in that.
But like, would you rather have this or Atlantis attacks? Like, is it?
Yeah, that's a good question. Probably Atlantis attacks, but it's honestly unclear. Like, Atlantis attacks, I guess if you can teamwork it. By the way, Atlantis attacks, we're talking about a common. This is the 7 mana, either make a 6/5 hexproof token or bounce 2 things, or teamwork 4, do both. Like, if you've got a board to teamwork, great. I think I like Atlantis more. But I guess this scales a little bit better. Yeah, if you have like a slightly bigger board. I don't know. Yeah, I kind of just wanted to like earmark this as it looks like it might not be the kind of card that's worth it, but I think I'm gonna play this in most of my blue decks. Let me just put it that way. Like, I don't think I'm cutting this from most of my blue decks.
I have an extremely low confidence meter on this one. Like, I could see this being an F. I could see this being like an A minus or anywhere in between. So we both gave it C for cowardly.
Yeah, I guess given our grading definitions from yesterday, I should technically bump up to C plus. I'm like, I don't think you're gonna cut this card. But yeah, this one I also think this one is one that might be a little bit better than we're giving it credit for. Okay, brings us back to rares. We're going to black now. Doom Reigns Supreme is the first one. This is 1 in a black for an enchantment. It's a plan. Whenever a villain you control enters, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life, and put a plan counter on this enchantment. When the 5th plan counter is put on this enchantment, you sacrifice it. When you do, target opponent exiles the top 5 cards of the library. You can cast up to 2 spells from among the exiled cards without paying their mana costs. Okay, I was higher on plans than you were yesterday. Can I interest you in this plan, Mark?
You can, but you are also still half a grade higher than this one.
Yeah, I don't know. This seems, putting aside for a second that it sucks to draw this on turn 5 or 6 or whatever. This just seems just wildly powerful to me. Right? Play it on 2, drain the opponent for 5 over the course of the game if all things going according to plan. I think that's very reasonable. There's a ton of villains. And then cast some cards for free? All for the cheap price of 2 mana?
It does need So you're assuming a few things. You're
Uh-huh.
assuming, like, you already talked about the one assumption, which is that it's not just your top deck, in which
Yeah.
case it's kind of embarrassing. But not all of your black decks are going to be like 13, 14 villains. There's non-villain creatures in plenty of colors in this set.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if what do you think the density of villains you need to have is to play this?
I would say like it's fairly high, like something like 10 plus, but I think that even given what you just said, that you're not going to have all villains, I think it's pretty doable. Because the flip side of that is even outside of black, there are villains.
Okay, so let me put this into context then, because you
Uh-huh.
said the number 10.
Okay.
That means you literally need to, on average, see half of your deck to trigger this.
Yeah, and that's like not so crazy, right? Like getting to 20 cards. Like I would say most games go about that long.
That's like without drawing extra cards, that's turn 13.
Sure, sure, but I think there's you can assume some card draw in there, or just seeing extra cards. Like there's a lot of kind of filtery card draw stuff in this set.
I'm just saying,
Yeah, yeah, no,
it's like,
I appreciate you making keeping me honest, making sure you're I'm not getting too ahead of myself. And I could be, but I still think this card is pretty good. I don't know.
yeah, there are a lot of things that make those 2/1 menace tokens as well, which will
Yep.
help with this too. But I think, like, part of what I'm getting at is I think your villain count needs to be closer to like 12 to 14
Yeah.
before I'm happy with this.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. The 10 number might be low. I'll concede that.
So yeah, I just think the bar is a little bit higher. That being said, if you get there, I am legitimately excited to draft this card. It looks like a fun card to play. And even if, I'm sure there'll be one time that I see 5 lands and I think, what the heck am I doing playing this?
I
There'll be some pretty sweet screenshots coming from this too.
think so. I think so. So grades.
So I gave it a C plus. You gave it a B minus.
We're not even that far off. All right, next up, we've got Construct a Cosmic Cube, which is another plan. 2 and a black for an enchantment. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 2/1 black villain token with Menace, put a plan counter on this enchantment, and whenever the 7th plan counter is put on this enchantment, sacrifice it. When you do, you control target opponent during their next turn. So you see, you have the first plan, you play it with this plan, and every time you draw a card, you get a 2/1 villain. There you go. Fixed it. Solved your low villain count issue.
So you just need like 10 cards that draw you your second card.
Yeah, exactly. That's fine. Connive's great. We can just shove all the connive cards in there.
Do you think that you're actually going to get to the second part of this plan in most games?
Yeah, that one I'm unsure of. That's a good point. 7 is a lot. 7, you're gonna need like repeatable ways to draw cards. So there is the uncommon blue black card that's a repeatable way to do it. I wouldn't bank on it, but at the same time, I also don't think you care that much. Like I think just making a bunch of 2/1s is good. Like if you make one off of this, okay, that's not exactly where you want to be. The second one, I think you feel like you get your money's worth, and then anything past there is awesome.
Yeah, and even that blue black uncommon, you're talking about attacking 7 times with your
Sure.
3/4.
Yeah, that's fair. But you got Bruce Banner. That's how you do it.
There's ways to do it. I just like, so is this only a blue black card?
Probably. Let me think. I think maybe some red black decks could get there. Probably not green black. Probably not white black. Yeah, I think it's a Grixis card.
Okay, now I will play my own devil's advocate
Okay.
and say that the really nice thing about this is a ton of the connive cards cost 4.
So just nicely curves like this into those, right?
Yeah, or even the Herbie artifact, the colorless 2/1 flyer.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
there's some nice curves with this into immediately getting a token. And if you can be pretty confident about getting your first token on turn 4 with like the chance of getting another one later, I think that's already enough to play this card.
Yeah, I do too. So, what do we want to give this?
You gave this another B minus. I was 2 grades lower just due to all the things I just talked about. I gave it a C.
Next up, we have Baron Helmet Zemo, which is black, black, black for a legendary villain. 3/3. Whenever you cast a black spell from your hand, Baron connives, and it has the Boast ability, which says exile any number of black cards from your graveyard with 15 or more black mana symbols from among their mana cost. Copy those exiled cards. You may cast up to 3 of those copies without paying their mana cost. Cool card. Does some interesting things. Extremely difficult mana cost. Kind of the card where it's like I can see playing this card where you're like, oh, I'm randomly basically mono black and I got this card 7th pick. Okay, I guess I'll play it. I guess I'll put it in my deck. But I wouldn't try to be mono black for this card.
Yeah, if you can hit like 14 black sources roughly,
Mm-hmm.
then this thing's probably like C plus B range, somewhere in that area.
Yeah,
Maybe not even like, yeah, still probably just like a C plus because it has no ETB, no protection. But yeah, you'll be pretty happy with it then. I think that's going to happen fairly infrequently. I think the stats on this card are going to be atrocious.
I agree.
I gave it a D minus. You gave it a D.
Yeah, giving a low grade just because it's like, as far as how often you're going to play it, incredibly low percentage of the time. And I guess you'll know. You'll know when it's at least something you should consider. Electra, Daughter of the Hand, up next. 2 black for a legendary villain. 3/3 with Sneak. Remember Sneak? It was from 2 sets ago. So this is 1 black. You may cast this spell for 1 black if you return an unblocked attacker you control to your hand during the declare block step. And then she enters tapped and attacking. So it's like ninjas if you played ninjas and not Sneak. The differences here, just to rehash everything we talked about during Turtles, is that this is actually casting it, so you can actually counter this spell if this is on the stack. And also, you need to do it exactly in the declare blocker step, like it said. No sneakiness with timing, like with ninjutsu. Anyways, for all of that, 1 Electra enters, destroy target creature an opponent controls with power 3 or less. So 4 mana 3/3 comes in, kills a 3 power creature. That alone, I would be very happy with. And then sometimes you sneak it in.
Yeah, the hand's not going to be happy about his daughter sneaking around at night.
Yeah,
but
tisk.
that's there's for good reason because she's a very powerful creature, and we both gave her an A minus.
Yep. Straightforward, powerful. Thunderbolt's Conspiracy is not that straightforward. It may be powerful. This is 3 and a black for an enchantment with flash. Whenever a villain you control dies, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a finality counter on it. That creature is a hero in addition to its other types. Okay, so I don't know exactly what card I'm thinking of, but I feel like we've had these kind of cards before. These like black enchantment, like before my creature's about to die, flash it in, comes back, or like just something like that. This have always been a little bit clunky. This one, I'm not sure. This is one of the ones I kind of sat with, thought about the play patterns for a while. I want to hear your take on it though, Mark.
We gave it very similar grades, so I
Yeah.
don't think we're doing anything too different. I am kind of optimistic just based on this being a slightly slower format. And I would say again, you probably need that like 13, 14, 15 villain count to really like play this and be happy with it, because you really want to make sure that if you're casting it, it's going to do something on the board instead of just basically do nothing.
Right.
But I think it's there. Like I think if your deck is 100% villains and you've got like 15 of them, I think this will be legitimately pretty good.
Yeah, notably, you're going to have some spots where you're like, hey, why doesn't my card work anymore? And it's because it's like not a villain anymore, it's a hero, so just watch out for that. That is not flavor text, that actually matters. And it's also not just like the way that they're tracking the things that have already died. So yeah, do be careful. I'm gonna be curious to see where this one lands, because very unclear just from thinking about it.
This is another one where, so one of the things that 17 lands does is it kind of, I feel, punishes rares that should be somewhere in the C range because they get overdrafted or misbuilt a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So unless a rare is like clearly bad and goes late and goes around the table, like people like taking rares. They get monetary, gem rewards for taking rares. They get to do cool splashy effects. So like the alpha on this is probably going to be pretty high, and I would imagine it's probably going to have worse stats than this. But I did give it a C. You gave it a C minus, and I am curious to see how it's going to play out when we actually get our hands on it.
Yeah, I also want to correct something I said because I just like completely read the card wrong. You gain the hero type in addition, so you're not going to lose the villain type. Your cards will continue to function, and the way that they track what's already happened is finality counter. So yeah, don't worry about any of that. All right. Next up is Super Scrawl. This is a cool card. 1 black, black, black for a legendary villain. 4/5 flyer. Has 4 abilities, one for each other color. So 2 and a white. Create a 0/4 wall token with Defender. 3 in a green. Skrull gets +4/+4 until end of turn. 4 in a red. Skrull deals 4 damage to target creature. 5 in a blue. Target player draws 4 cards. Holy hell, that's a lot of cards. Okay, so kind of reads like a multicolored card, but also you're gonna be fine playing this in any heavy black deck. So like black red is probably the best place for it. Maybe black blue. I honestly anyone except black white. Like black white's still fine. You would play this card, but like that's the least exciting of them. I wonder, like, do you think you're at all pushed to put more sources of colors in your deck? Like, are you gonna want to stretch the mana to have access to other abilities?
Well, so I mean, first to actually cast it, I think you probably want 10 black sources at a minimum.
Yeah, I would even say like 11 probably for triple black.
Yeah, like if you cast it on turn 5, it's fine. On turn like 6, it's still probably fine. So like if your mana's over half black, 6 is by the time you have 6 lands, hopefully 3 of them will be black at that point, and that makes it okay. I am very interested in playing the conduit pylons with this thing.
Oh, yeah, actually that card, like that's the surveil filter land. But also there's actually a few lands in this set that play really nicely with it. There's the villain land that adds a mana for villain spells and activated abilities. So there you go. You get access to all of the abilities. There's also the Fantastic Four building land that like filters mana, 4 different colors of mana. So yeah, there's the lands to support this for sure. You don't have to be tossing in basics into your deck to get these other abilities.
If you don't have those though, like if you're already playing some number of land cyclers, I could maybe see like throwing in a, you probably want something else to splash as well, but I could see this being like the tipping point for being like, oh, I'll splash a red card plus the red activation on
Right.
this because I have this as like the tiebreaker.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. And I think probably you only want to do that for the red and the blue abilities. Like the green one's nice, but I don't know if I'm really gonna like make any concessions to it. If it's not like a free splash, then probably don't do that. But I think if you're like black red, I would be happy to find a blue source, and if I'm black blue, I'd be happy to find a red source for it.
Yeah, in terms of splashing, yeah, I do think the white ability is like totally fine. The
Yeah,
green one is
totally.
pretty underwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah, but anyways, cool card. It's gonna be lead to some interesting deck building decisions. What do we like for it?
We both gave it a B minus.
Next is the Mythics. So we're starting with Black Widow Super Spy. 1 in a black for a 2/1 legendary hero. She's shed her old ways of being a villain. She's just a hero right now. She's got Menace, and Black Widow, whenever Black Widow deals damage to a player, that player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may put a +1/+1 counter on Black Widow. If you don't, you may cast the exiled non-land card at the until end of turn. Let me start this over. I got mixed up in the sentence. If you don't, you may cast the exiled non-land card until end of turn, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. Okay, so aside from me fumbling over all those words there, basically this is 2 mana, 2/1 Menace. When it deals combat damage, you can either put a counter on or cast the spell that they flip.
Which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good mix of abilities. I think kind of the way this plays out is early on, you're just going to like put a counter, and then maybe once you get to turn 4, you start casting things. Although it depends what you flip, right? You can always just see what you flip first.
Like if you flip a 3-drop on turn 3, you're just casting.
Yeah, you just cast
right?
it for sure. Yeah, that's true. Also nice that it can't miss, right? Like it's flip until you hit a spell.
Yes. Well, I mean, it could be more expensive than the lands you have in play, but
Yeah, that's true. It's just like not, there's like Fallen Shinobi or whatever in Cube, like the blue black ninja guy. Like you don't have the risk of being like, oops, I hit lands off of this, and it kind of sucks now. It just you get to have your cake and eat it too.
yep. Nope, we both like Black Widow a lot and gave her a B plus.
Yeah, sweet card. Modoc is 3 black for a legendary artifact villain, 2/2 flying lifelink. Pay 3 life. Modoc connives. Activate this only during your turn. And it has another ability. Creatures your opponents control get -1/-1. That's just a static ability. So 5 mana 2/2 flying lifelink comes in, kills all your opponent's 1 toughness creatures, makes all their other stuff smaller, and can become a giant lifelinker.
I think that last ability is going to hurt your opponents more than people realize. That's a nice ability.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, if you've never played with a card that said your opponent's creatures get -1/-1, it reads less exciting than it actually is. Like that changes the board state a ton.
Even when we had the -1, -0 creature from Bloomborough, like that thing is very effective. And the toughness boost, like there's literally 1 toughness creatures with power up in this set that they just like can't use. They're just going to be total blanks.
True. Cool too that it's activate the connive on your turn, not just at sorcery speed. So you can like respond to a burn spell, maybe threat of activation in combat. Yeah.
You can try and get lucky where like you have 1 spell in hand and 1 land, and you like activate it multiple times to try and survive a lightning strike or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen sometimes.
Yep, nice card. Although it does die to a stiff breeze, I gave it a B minus. You gave it a B.
Next up, we've got potentially the best card in the set, Doctor Doom. 4 black for a legendary villain, 3/3. When Doctor Doom enters, create 2 3/3 colorless robot artifact creature tokens named Doombot. As long as you control an artifact creature or a plan, Doctor Doom has indestructible, and at the beginning of your end step, you draw a card and you lose a life. Absurd. We're getting 3 3/3 bodies for 6 mana. One of those being indestructible, and the one that is indestructible is the one that provides you value. And you draw a card right away. Like, it's on your end step. It's not on your upkeep. What a ridiculous card.
The only way you're beating this is counterspells or flyers.
Yeah, there are a few, like, exile effects, negative X effects, but I think the negative X effects might just be just the -2 one, so it doesn't even kill this.
There is a red 3 damage sweeper that would kill this.
That's true. Yeah, we'll get to that in a little while. But yeah, that's true, because the bots die. Yeah.
It'll be indestructible, but then it'll die to like losing indestructible and having 3 damage on it.
I've like, if there ever was an A+, Doctor Doom.
Yep, easy A+.
Next up, we've got red cards now, so we're going back to rares. Quicksilver, Brash Blur. I like this card, kind of a cool design. Single red mana for a 1/1 legendary hero. If Quicksilver is in your opening hand, you may begin the game with him on the battlefield. He's got haste and power-up ability, 4 and a red, put a +1/+1 counter and a double strike counter on Quicksilver. So yeah, it's a nice little story it's telling here with the ability. Not overly powerful though.
The first ability in limited is like pretty irrelevant because you're not usually spending your first mana anyways.
Right, yeah, like maybe you get to play a tap land where you wouldn't be, you have to decide between the 1-drop and the tap land, but yeah, it's pretty minor.
Yeah, I'm not super excited about this thing. I gave Quicksilver a C minus. You gave it a C.
Yeah. Next up is Hawkeye Master Marksman. 1 in a red for a 2/2 legendary hero. First strike and reach. Already a good start. Trick arrows. Whenever Hawkeye becomes tapped, you may pay 1 up to 3 times. When you do, choose up to that many. So 3 options here. Net. Target creature can't block this turn. Explosive. Hawkeye deals 2 damage to target player. And Boomerang. Discard a card and then draw a card. Yeah, this is like such an efficient little package.
Hawkeye will be the butt of the joke no longer. This is very powerful. Like especially first strike reach and all of that. That like the flexibility here is off the charts.
Yeah, yeah, super, super good. I think I gave this a B plus. I could even see this reaching into the A range for efficiency A. Would you end up giving it?
I was the exact spot as you, and with the exact same thoughts too. So we
Yeah.
both gave it a B plus.
Next up is that card you mentioned a second ago, Avengers Disassembled. 1 red red for a sorcery. Choose one or both. Avengers Disassembled deals 3 damage to each creature, destroy target land. Its controller may search the library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. So mostly the 3 damage to all creatures, but once in a while you blow up one of those good uncommon lands we talked about yesterday.
I will say just about the last card because I think Chad asked this and it's worth saying.
Yeah.
If you pay 3 mana, you have to choose each ability. Like you can't choose the same thing multiple times.
Yes, that's true. You can't just be like 6 to the face. That'd be too good. Anyways, back to our
okay,
sweeper.
So for disassemble. So this is interesting because it cleans up almost everything on curve, but then there's this like break point where all of a sudden when people start casting 4 and 5 drops, so many of them have 4 toughness.
Right, yeah. It's like there's not a lot of like mid-sized creatures. Like it's like a bunch of small things and like a bunch of pretty big things in this set.
Yeah, it feels like the exact number of toughness at 3 is underrepresented.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Lots of 2s and 4s.
I phrased that very poorly, but yeah, there's very few creatures with exactly 3 toughness.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, that's a good point from chat. If you want, and you probably do want, if you want to thin your deck, you can just destroy one of your lands with this and go get another one. Also fixes your mana. Yeah, it's fixing. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Yeah, I think most of the red decks in this format probably won't play this. So like black red probably doesn't want it. All of its stuff's way too small. Blue red, I could see it. White red probably not, and green red maybe.
I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I do think though in the decks, so we gave this a slight based on that definition, it should be a bit lower, but in the decks that want this, it's going to be one of the number 1 cards you want to draw every game.
Right. Yeah, you're just like it just helps you bridge the gap between the early stuff and the late stuff, especially because like a lot of those like the green red deck especially, you're trying to get to the late game or late-ish game to like activate your expensive power-up abilities.
Yeah, so for that reason we both gave it a little bit of a bump even though it won't go in every deck, and gave it a C+.
We've got the Scarlet Witch up next. 2 and a red for a 2/3 legendary hero. Instant and sorcery spells you cast with mana value 4 or greater cost X less to cast, where X is the Scarlet Witch's power. This is not like the best set for Scarlet Witch. Should be if you put this in Strixhaven, it looks excellent. But there's not a ton of super expensive spells in this set.
Atlantis Attacks.
Atlantis Attacks is one. Yeah, it's a definitely the first one that came to mind. There's also this does work with what's it called? I don't remember the name of the card, but it's the red uncommon X red deal 1, and you can copy it X times. That works with this, correct? Like you go to basically
I think so. Yeah, I think that would work.
Yeah, I think this works with X spells. Chat can confirm or deny this, but I think the way that works is like you say to the game, I'm casting this spell for this much. It recognizes it as a big spell, and it's like, okay, we'll reduce it. So
that sounds right to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah, chat says that's right. Okay, so there are a few things that it combos with, but yeah, not going to be just like a card you throw in your deck and good things are going to happen just naturally.
Yep, and we're both pretty low on this, giving it a D+.
Next is Fin Fang Foom, 2 red for a legendary villain, 3/5 flyer. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets an artifact or land, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on Fin Fang Foom. Nice little synergy with that deal 3 to target a land kind of card. Deal 6 to everything. Although I guess that would kill this. No, it wouldn't. Never mind, because you put 2 counters on. So that is a very good synergy little combo thing. Okay,
well, it
anyways.
also has high toughness.
Well, you'd copy it though, right? So you do 6 to everything.
Oh, I see what you, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah. Anyways, not a super relevant text box for the most part. Although you kill an
Well, if
artifact
you're just
creature.
pointing a removal spell at an artifact creature, you get
Yeah,
to double it.
yeah. That is true, and you get to put 2 counters on this creature.
It's also just like I was surprised you gave this a fairly low grade because it's like very well statted.
Yeah, what did I give it? Just to put that out there.
You gave it a C minus.
I don't feel too bad about that. Like it's well statted, but I just think it's gonna be stats for so many games. Like I just don't think there's gonna be too many games where the ability comes up.
So you wouldn't play a 3/5 flyer for 4 mana with no abilities?
I would play it, but I think I'm cutting that from a lot of decks. Like I think there's a lot of there are decks where you have better 4 drops.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm higher on this. I give it a C plus, so not anything too different, but we are 2 grades apart.
yeah.
And yeah, I was a little surprised.
Yeah, I might be underrating just how often you target an artifact. Because, like, if you do, just like you said, point a removal spell on an artifact creature, becomes this 5/7 flyer. That's pretty massive.
You can also like in red blue, you can turn your trinkets into like the 4/4.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. I might be a little bit low. I might be a little bit low. We'll see. Next is Mjolnir, Hammer of Thor. 3 and a red for a legendary equipment. This is getting to the mythics now. When it enters, it deals 4 damage to up to 1 target creature. Double all damage the equipped creature would deal. The equip cost is equip a worthy creature, which is a single mana equip, and it says a creature is worthy if it's a legendary non-villain that's red and or white. And also has the ability, 2 and a red, discard this card. It deals 2 damage to each creature. Cool card. Cool, like, kind of bottom-up design. Also just interesting play patterns here. So 4 mana, deal 4 to something. Not amazing, but definitely passable when it's got a bunch of other words on it. Equip worthy. How do we feel about that? How restrictive do you feel that's going to be?
It should be pretty easy in red white. The question is in red black, how many hits do you have for this? Like if you imagine your deck is roughly split 50-50 down the middle,
Mm-hmm.
then half your creatures are red, which is let's say like 7 of them. And out of those, none of the commons would count, which is probably 3 or 4. So you probably only have like 4-ish targets to equip this. And it's not even double strike. It's
Right.
just doubling the damage. So it is worse than double strike.
Sirgovit says 50 targets in the set, which is a
Which
pretty...
sounds like a lot,
Yeah,
but a
it's a
lot of
lot.
those are white.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think you're basically always playing this card, right? Like, forget about the equip cost. Forget it's an equipment. I think you'd always play split card of sorcery speed 4 to something, instant speed pyroclasm. No?
Yes, I would.
Yeah. Can't give it too low of a grade because that and like it does have upside. So yeah, what do we give it?
You give it an A, I gave it an A minus. So pretty close.
Yeah, still a good card. And speaking of which, good card. Thor, God of Thunder, is 3 red for a 5/5 legendary hero. Flying. When Thor enters, exile target equipment, instant, or sorcery card from your graveyard. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Thor deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to any target. Hoo-wee.
Yeah, not cute that it works nicely. You discard the hammer, you bring it back,
Yeah.
click it, do the thing, live the lore, enjoy all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
But being able to hit instants and sorceries is very important for this too.
Yeah, this card is really good. Just like a giant Snapcaster Mage, kind of. Yeah, it's hard to give this anything lower than an A. I could see it sneaking to A+, but I think we just landed at A here.
We did both give it an A, yes.
Next up is green cards. So back to rares. Heroic Feast is the first one. 2 and a green for an enchantment. When this enchantment enters, create a food token. And whenever you gain life, Put choose up to that many target creatures you control. Put a +1/+1 counter on each of them.
Just a note while we're coming off those. So there was only two like they're both incredible, but there was only two red mythics. There was six of them for white.
Yeah, and they're all busted. Yeah, you're right.
Two of them
That's
were two of them were flip cards, but the front side was white, and then there
true.
was the four mono white ones. So yeah, it's really interesting how the colors are split up on this.
Yeah, I think it's also probably going to bear out in just like strength of colors, because oftentimes when a color gets a lot of good rares, even if it's like commons and uncommons are like pretty close to the other colors, sometimes it's just like, yeah, your average white deck has a really busted rare in it. So yeah, white might look to be a little bit better than it is if you're not considering the rares. Anyways, Heroic Feast. Do you want me to read this out again, or did you catch that one?
No, I caught it.
Okay, cool, cool.
There's not too much to say about this one. Like there is the lands, which is nice. There is the common that makes either a food or a treasure token.
Yep.
There is the one drop that taps to gain one and boost an attacking creature. It's attacking alone. But there's not much else, and this is not a supported theme whatsoever.
No, one of the very light themes that exist. There's like the uncommon 2/1 flash green card that also cares about life gain. But that
And
one's the
there's
least.
some lifelink creatures too, to be fair.
Sure, yeah, that's fair. But like take that 2/1, like at very least it's a 2/1 flash. This is quite weak if it's just the only card, right? Like 5 mana, gain 3, put 3 counters on, like 1 counter on 3 things. That's pretty bad.
I think I'm with you too. I'm curious to see if anyone's going to make this work, but we've both given it quite a low grade of D minus. Not quite enough because I think there's a chance, but it would really have to be once in a blue moon.
Yeah, I do think like this. If somebody shows me a deck where Heroic Feast is good, I'm not going to be shocked. I'm just going to be like, oh, that's impressive, because it's not easy to get together, but I think you can. Like, this is going to be like a once a format thing, I would assume. Next is Epic Fights. 2 and a green for a sorcery. Choose one or both. Double target creature's power and toughness until end of turn. Target creature you control fights target creature and opponent controls. Yeah, this is I think a little bit better than it reads. It's looks a little bit like boring, right? It's just like, okay, whatever. Like you get to get big and fight. That's really rare level. But one of the things that happens pretty often with this kind of card is like you're racing with your opponent, going back and forth. They leave back a blocker. You make your biggest thing, or maybe an evasive thing. Giants kill their last blocker, get in, and maybe even they were winning the race by quite a bit. But like, you just like really swing with this kind of card. So I do think this card is pretty good and might be a little bit underrated.
Kind of like Primal Might ish.
Primal Might's a good comparison. Yeah, it's the X and a green creature gets +X and fights. Yeah, that's a very good comparison there.
Yeah, I do think I'm guilty of what you just talked about of underrating it a little bit. I
Hmm.
think I'm closer to where you are after thinking about it a bit more. You gave it a B plus. I gave it a B minus.
Next is Mole Man Moloid Master. So this is 2 and a green for a 1/1 legendary villain. You can play lands from your graveyard. Landfall ability. Whenever a land enters under your control, you make a 1/1 green minion token named Moloid. With whenever this token attacks, you may mill a card.
Are you happy enough if you get one graveyard free land plus 1/1 out of this or no?
I don't know. I don't think so. No, I don't like. I think you're like just unhappy about that. You know, you're like you just feel like you didn't get enough value for 3 mana by a little bit.
Is that true? Like it's a card plus 2/1/1s at that point.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that's fine. But there's no Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse, anything like that in the set. So the land has to get there through this ability or something else. A little bit of
There is
self mill.
the shitty 3 mana rampant growth that gains 2 life and puts a counter on something.
Oh, just like as an additional land drop, you're saying per turn, or for that
Yeah,
turn.
it's not even worth mentioning, but I did anyways.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like this kind of says I I would evaluate this next to hop to it, right? Like it takes 3 turns and land drops to make 3/1/1s. Or so yeah, to 3/1/1s overall. And if you're not getting a single land off of this, which I think is actually a little bit difficult, like I don't think that's a guaranteed thing. Like we were going back and forth, like, oh, maybe it's good, maybe it's worth it. I think it's not going to be all that likely to happen because you have to attack with these to mill. They're just 1/1s. There's not that many good ways to get lands in the graveyard, anyways.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I give this a D plus. You gave it a D. And sorry, give me 1 second again.
Yeah, no worries. Oh yeah, Bart. Hello, number one and two. That is a good point. I will mention that when Mark comes back. We're just zipping through things today. I guess we've got a lot of gold cards
All right,
still,
sorry.
but nearly the end. All good, all good. I'm gonna just jump back in because chat made a good point. Chat brings up the point that you can connive away your lands and play them. Does that move the needle at all?
Well, that's part of the thing I was thinking. Like, if you get
Oh, I
one
see.
trigger off of this, it's not too bad.
No, yeah, I got that. Instead of connive, there's no easy way to do it. I guess is the way that I would counter that point. Is all.
There's the common green mill spell and the black common mill spell.
Hmm. Yeah.
There's
Okay,
a few ways.
they're there. Okay, yeah. I don't want to talk it down
You
too
can
much.
surveil. There's a bunch of surveil in the set too.
Yeah, maybe I'm missing. Like when I first looked at this card, I missed those. Okay, yeah. I still don't think it's great. I think we're probably around the right spot in the D range, but I can see creeping up a little bit after playing with it. All right, the unbeatable Squirrel Girl. Let's see, is she actually unbeatable? This is 1 green, 4 mana, 3 of them being green. Legendary hero. She's a 4/4. She says, whenever the unbeatable Squirrel Girl enters or attacks, you make a 1/1 squirrel token. And it has the ability 1 green. Create X 1/1 squirrel tokens where X is the number of squirrels you control. So that's a lot of squirrels. Like, immediately, it's 5/5 worth of stats. And it's a must kill, because if you untap with this, you just, like, kind of just keep going off with it. I think you're going to just activate it as much as you can for as long as she sticks around for. Scary card.
It's going to be a long review, but I'm still slightly disappointed you didn't read the names of the two abilities.
Oh, sorry. I should have for this one, absolutely. Especially because there's an exclamation mark and capitals. I love squirrels. How about that? And also, do you like squirrels? There we go. I'll edit those in after in the right spots.
All right, we'll fix it in post.
Yeah, fix it in post.
I do like the squirrels. The free squirrels that come with this Squirrel Girl are of interest to me very much.
Would you still like this card if you were required to read out the flavor text every time? The flavor text being, we're here to eat nuts and kick butts. Is that passable?
From you, yes. I will not be indulging.
Why for me? What do you mean? Okay. We won't.
You're a content creator. You're used to having to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I guess so. Humiliation ritual. All right. Anyways, great card. What do we want to give it?
We both gave it a B. Solid card.
Yeah. World War Hulk is 3 green for a saga. First chapter. The next red or green creature spell you cast this turn can be cast without paying its mana cost. Chapter 2. Put 3 +1/+1 counters on target creature you control. Chapter 3. Choose target creature you control until end of turn, double its power and toughness, and it gains trample. Bit of a weird one, right? Like, this is kind of like the white one in some ways that we looked at. Like, not guaranteed value, and then also unclear if the other modes are going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm also low confidence on this one, but my initial gut check is that I don't like it.
Me too. Okay, so let's just play this out here. you cast this, and let's just say you cast, let's even be generous, let's say a 6-drop. So it actually makes you a mana, right? Okay. And then you put 3 counters on a creature. That's pretty good. Okay, so this has generated 3 power worth of stats. And then you get a temporary boost, which could be massive, right? It could be like, holy crap, I need to deal with that 7/7. It's going to become a 14/14, and I'm just going to die or have to chump. There is actually a lot of flying and trample in this set, too, so it's not like they can just chump all the time. So there's something going on there, but, like, it's also disruptible. Your opponent also sees it coming. That first mode, or first chapter, might not actually do anything awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of just a finisher, but to me, this is kind of just like an overrun, and overruns haven't usually been cards that are like that necessary for a lot of games.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like when was the last overrun we had that was very powerful? I can't even think of one
Yeah,
really.
it's been a long time since we've had like a premium one that was actually like, oh, you just want this in every deck and you're gonna play it. Also, sorry, I misspoke. This gives trample naturally, so you don't have to look for any abilities to pair it with.
Yeah, this is if you have a big creature either in play or in your hand, and your big creature survives, this just ends the game. But that's like a lot of ifs.
Mm-hmm. Sure is, sure is. Yeah, I think we're gonna start low. What do we give it?
You gave it a C minus. I was even lower than this. I actually gave it a D plus.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm curious to see how this one plays. Next up is Shang-Chi. We're going to Mythics now. Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu. 1 and a green for a 2/2 legendary hero. You may activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste. This creature has an ability tap. Add 2 mana of any one color. Spend this mana only to activate abilities of creature sources. It's like powerful, right? Adding 2 mana, even if it's restricted mana, that's nice. Of course, the joke here is power-up cards. That's where your activated abilities in this set mostly lie. There's a few others here and here there, though, so it's not exclusively power-up cards.
Also, just having like a lack of 2 drops makes me more interested in this card in general.
Yeah,
And this is another card that's like your opponent doesn't know how good it's going to be for them
right.
because you can like by the time you've cast your creature, even if they respond to the creature that you're like, let's say you have the black discard death touch creature that we talked about yesterday.
Yeah,
If you untap on turn 3 and play that thing, even if they kill this in response, you can still add the mana and immediately power it up.
right, yeah. And I think the thing is, you mentioned you don't know how good this card is going to be for your opponent. I think it's safe to assume it's going to be pretty good. Like, there are just a lot of power-up cards in this set. Like, hard to imagine your opponent doesn't have any. So yeah, it is a very scary card.
Yep, I gave it a B minus. You gave it a C plus.
Next is Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which is 4 green for a sorcery. It has Teamwork 5, and I think this is the first instance of Teamwork today, so I'll read it again. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may tap any number of creatures you control with power 5 or more. Reveal the top 8 cards of your library. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. If this spell was cast using Teamwork, put any number of those creatures on the battlefield instead, and put the rest into your graveyard. So very much want to teamwork this. I think it's not a good card if you're not teamworking it. But if you are teamworking it, top 8, that's a lot. Like, I'd say on average, you're going to hit 2 to 3 creatures.
It could just lose you the game, right? Like
it could. Yeah, you just like tap a bunch of things and you hit one creature and it's not enough blockers.
yeah, so we're actually 3 grades apart on this one, although it's another one I'm not confident about, which is always a good thing. I like having cards that are tricky to evaluate in sets.
This one I feel pretty strongly about being pretty good. I'm pretty optimistic about this. So like, yeah, there's the fail case like you mentioned, where it's just like, okay, I'm under some pressure and I can't afford to spin the wheel. But like at parity, in a head spot, like I think it's gonna be great. Even if you're like slightly behind, I think it's gonna be still pretty good.
To be clear, if you're not teamworking it, this card's like slightly bad, right?
Oh yeah, I think like you feel pretty bad if you're not teamworking.
Like you're likely to hit maybe like a 4 drop on average, I would say, probably.
Oh, just you mean like based on the distribution of the curve in your deck?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
which for
That's
six
not
mana
good.
is not good.
Right,
And
yeah, that's not
then
good.
Teamwork 5 has to be hard to hit just based off of Atlantis attacks. Like there's just no way it's free.
It's not free, but I don't think it's that difficult. Like 5 power is pretty small.
In
For
green too, there's
yeah.
a lot of bigger creatures in green.
Like I would assume you need two creatures, right? Like I think most permutations of two creatures are gonna do it at that point.
Yeah, it's yeah, as I said, very low confidence. I'm not going to try and talk you down on it. You gave it a B minus. I was a lot more conservative at a C minus.
Next up, we've got the gold card. So back to rares. The Mighty Thor Jane Foster is 1 blue-white for a 3/3 legendary hero, has flying, and when Thor attacks, exile up to one target non-token artifact or creature. Then return that card to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. Whenever an equipment you control enters, draw a card. Cool.
I don't think we did it purposely to do the gold cards last today, but it kind of ended up working out that way. And I'm kind of interested in it because the gold cards now are where a lot of the power is. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of good gold rares and mythics. And I do think that like these are the ones that kind of shape the archetypes, and these are also part of the reason why I talked about being interested in splashing in a lot of decks,
Yeah.
because I think you're going to get a lot of potential power from like single off color pip gold cards at the rare slot.
Yeah, same here. The next like 20-ish cards, like we got we're in store for some bangers.
Yeah, this one is not one of the incredible ones. It's solid, but nothing special. We both gave the Mighty Thor a B.
Next, we've got King T'Challa. This is 1 blue-white for a 3/2 legendary hero at Mythic. So
That's Mythic, no?
yeah, let's just do the gold cards together. I think no.
Okay, sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
fine
yeah.
with me.
Okay, so I'll call out when there's a rare, when there's a mythic here. So yeah, this one is a mythic. 1 blue-white, 3/2 flash legendary hero. Whenever a player draws their second card each turn, you draw a card. And T'Challa transforms for 6 mana for blue-white. The backside is a 3/3 flash double strike that says prevent all damage that we be dealt to Black Panther, which is the backside. And whenever Black Panther deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. So the front side is pretty interesting because two things here. Like one, the the first thing kind of sticks out here is like, okay, you flash it in when your opponent draws a card, right? And then you get to draw a card too. But it also just doubles up your card draw, right? Whenever a player draws their second card, you draw a card. So it's actually a payoff for the draw your second card theme too.
So if they thirst for knowledge at the end of your turn, you're drawing 2 extra cards.
Whenever a player draws their second card, no, because it's only
Because
sec.
you'll play it, it'll trigger
Oh,
off of your thirst, and then you'll draw your second card.
oh, that's an additional layer. I didn't see that layer. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Okay, I'm
Another reason to
impressed.
knock down thirst for knowledge.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Don't cast Thirst into 1 blue, white. Your opponent might have this mythic. Okay, so backside also pretty good. Can't be killed in combat. Can't be killed by burn spells. Is a double striking 3/3. Draws cards. Like just not a lot to dislike here.
Nope, I think this card is great. I gave it an A minus. You gave it a B plus.
Next up is Scientist Supreme of Aim. This is blue-black for a 2/2 legendary villain. It's a rare. Has the ability pay 2 life, copy target activated or triggered ability you control from an artifact source. You may choose new targets for the copy, activate only during your turn, and only once each turn. It's a bear with some upside. Like, this is good with the 4 mana 2/1 flyer, draws a card, Herbie. That's one of the first
Or
things I
even
thought of.
curving into the preening champion. Like I'd pay 2 life for an extra
Oh,
token on
yeah,
turn three,
yeah.
probably.
For sure. The shield guy, the 3 mana 2/2 flyer comes with the 1/1. Yeah, so it does stuff here and there. It's gonna be better than a bear. Like, I think this will be better than a 2-mana 2/2. But probably also just not a card you want to take highly. It's more just like, okay, I need a 2-drop, I'll play it.
But I do think you need stuff to copy to play it because like a double pipped bear is not something you want to play otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hard to cast 2/2 is still a bit of a cost. So looking for what? Kind of like some of the other cards we talked about, something in the neighborhood of like 5-ish triggers.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And based on that, we both gave it a C minus.
Next, we've got Taskmaster Mercenary Mimic. This is 2 blue-black for a 3/5 legendary villain at rare. At the beginning of your first main phase, until your next turn, Taskmaster becomes a copy of up to 1 target creature on the battlefield or creature in a graveyard, except his name is Taskmaster, Mercenary Mimic, and he's a legendary human mercenary villain creature. Okay, so pretty nice. Like, the ability to copy anything on the battlefield or like both graveyards, access to both graveyards. That's big. Not a bad.
Yeah, doesn't some of these sometimes keep their power and toughness, and this one won't? So it's not just about the utility of the creature; it's also about the size. And there is a brief window where this is not gonna like you don't copy until your next turn, but then also it's briefly not something during your upkeep. So if there is a like if you have a hexproof creature or something that you can copy, it will still briefly be exposed.
Yeah, I guess worth noting it is a little bit different, and maybe even just worse than a clone, because you can't get ETB effects off this. No enter the battlefield effects.
Well, it's also can be upgraded throughout the game though.
Yeah, it's modular. Yeah, it's interesting clone variant. And worth noting, like you mentioned the power and toughness changes, it is nice that it blocks really well the turn it comes down. Like 3/5 is pretty good.
Yes. Yeah, and it's like if both players are playing land cyclers, like if someone cycles a green land cycler and
yeah.
you can copy that, there's some pretty nice opportunities for getting huge all of a sudden.
Yeah, that is cool. So what do we like for it?
I gave it a C. You gave it a C plus.
Next up, we've got the Ruinous Wrecking Crew, which is X black-red for a legendary villain at rare. It's a 2/2, but it enters with X +1/+1 counters on it. When the Wrecking Crew enters, choose up to X. 4 modes here, or 4 options. Discard a card and draw a card. Target opponent loses 2 life. Destroy target token. Each player sacrifices a creature of their choice. Yeah, okay, those are all pretty good options, like good in different game states. Like, it was nice to have a good spread on a modal card.
It's one of the only answers to Monica Rambeau, too.
Yeah, there we go. Sacrifices a creature.
But no, this is pretty nice. Yeah, I like you don't need to do all of them, and as you scale up, it just gets better and better.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of tokens to hit, which will always feel really good. And then the other abilities can be pretty nice too. So I'm pretty into this.
Yeah, it sort of seems like the main, like I think 4 mana for this, and then a rummage plus destroy a token, or each opponent or each player sacrifices something seems like a common thing to do. You might want to wait.
It will go in that order. So if they have a token creature, you can destroy it and then make them sacrifice something else.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, good card. What do we like for it?
I both gave it a B.
Nice. Next up is Ares, God of War. 1 black-red for a 4/3 legendary villain at rare. It attacks each combat if able, and whenever an attacking creature you control dies, return that card to its owner's hands. Okay, yeah, so that makes blocking harder for the opponent. This is a 4/3, like, that's for 3 mana. That's a pretty good stat line. Yeah, nothing, like, over-the-top crazy, but a solid card.
It can be extremely annoying. Like, this can just carry a game.
That's true, yeah, like, you play on 3, they don't have an answer, they don't have a good block, they take 4, and if they don't have an answer there, like, as in a removal spell, then they're relying on blockers, which is kind of ineffective. So yeah, like, you really hope to have specifically a removal spell versus this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a little higher than you on this one. I gave it a B. You gave it a B minus.
Next is a Saga, Avengers Under Siege. 2 black-red for a First chapter saying create 2/1 black villain tokens with menace. Second chapter, it deals 2 damage to each non-villain creature each opponent. Third chapter, you make a treasure token for each villain you control. That's a lot. That is a lot of stuff for 4 mana.
Even just chapter 1, you're already pretty happy.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, what like that would be, a pretty solid card just on its own. Sometimes
It'd be like a C plus or something, maybe even a B minus just for chapter 1.
yeah, I'd say so. I guess one of the kind of probably looks a little bit worse than it is things about this card is a lot of the smaller creatures in the set are villains. So like, you're gonna snipe some stuff here and there, but not gonna be like wildly effective most of the time for that second chapter, which is fine. Like it's not too much of a criticism.
Well, if they do have like 2 creatures that survive the damage, the chances are it still means that you can get an attack in because you can then
True.
trade your menace thing for both of them, right?
And even though maybe you don't kill multiple things, taking out any number of blockers when you have menace creatures is a big deal. So yeah, card just seems very, very good.
Yeah, I both gave it a B plus.
Alien Invasion is our next card. One red green for enchantment at rare. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 red alien token with haste, and has the ability this token attacks each combat if able. Put a +1/+1 counter on it for each invasion counter on this enchantment, then put an invasion counter on this enchantment. So I kind of read this as like a fixed, much more fair Minskamboo, right? It's just like you get a 1/1 every turn, and you can grow it every turn. Yeah, obviously not as busted as Minskamboo though.
I was thinking more like either Assemble the Legion or Urabrask's Forge.
Yeah. All pretty good comparisons. And for what
And
it's
both of
worth,
those were very good.
yeah, I was gonna say for what it's worth, all those cards we just mentioned are quite good.
Yeah, I think this is going to win a lot of games, even though it seems like it doesn't do anything at the start. We both gave it a B.
Next, we've got Wolverine Fierce Fighter. This is 2 red-green for a 3/5 legendary hero at rare. It's got haste. When Wolverine enters, he fights up to 1 target creature. And then a weird line here of text. If damage would be dealt to Wolverine, instead, that damage is dealt, but all other damage already dealt to him is healed. And healed is a new word on a magic card. So basically, like, you can't burn this and then block it. That you have to, anytime, if you want to kill Wolverine with damage, it has to be one shot, right? Because he'll regenerate otherwise. That's the whole joke. And of course, it works nicely with his first ability because, like, comes in, fights something, can still get in a good attack. It's not like it's 3 damage, or like a 3/5 with 4 damage marked or something like that.
Yeah, this seems like the Black Electra, but with haste and more toughness.
Yeah.
Like, it's just extremely good. I was surprised you didn't go a little higher on this one because Electra, we both agreed, was an A minus. I think this is just better.
Oh, what did I give it?
You gave this one also an A minus. I gave it an A.
Yeah, it's probably an A. I agree. Multi-blocking does work, yes, because that happens all at once. So you're good there. It's just like you can't stagger the damage. That's all. Okay.
Unless, but it also can like stop it from dying to double strike, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, that interacts weird with double strike. Yeah, there's probably also like another weird interaction or two that we're not thinking about here. But yeah, strange card. I get why they worded it like this. Like, it's very flavorful and probably saves them some words, but it's interesting. Next up is Storm Windrider. 1 green, white for a 4/4 legendary hero at rare. She's got flying and says, creatures with flying you can't attack you or block creatures you control. So that's pretty good. Just like completely neutralizes all the flyers. And whenever you cast a spell that targets 1 or more creatures, those creatures gain flying until end of turn. Cool. Okay, so basically, like, you can use your combat tricks to make a creature effectively unblockable, or you can target one of your opponent's things so that they can't block.
Yeah, so if you just have like 1 extra creature you want to attack with, you target your thing. If they just have 1 ground blocker that they're blocking with, you can target that and just get thrown on the ground. So there's some weird heuristics you have to jump through in your mind to be like, well, wait, what am I actually supposed to target with this?
Yeah, it's like a bit of a puzzle. A lot of can'ts and does have flying, and that loses flying and can't attack.
It is hard to cast and has the, no ATB, no protection. Especially being the hard to cast is part of the reason why you
Mm-hmm.
and I think, gave this a little bit of a lower grade. But I could see it being better than this. We both gave it a C. I could see it being higher.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. Like that was my reasoning, just hard to cast, like everything you just said. But like it might just be the case with a lot of flying running around that this ability is like relevant basically every time you cast her. So we'll see.
Yeah, when I graded this, like I hadn't really clocked how much flying there is. So
Yeah. Yeah, lots of it.
notably, there's a ton of reach, and reach still works against
That's
this.
true. That's true. It's not just, it doesn't just say your flying creatures are unblockable. Next up is Winter Soldier Icy Assassin. Black white for a 2/2 legendary villain at rare. Menace Vigilance. Winter Soldier gets +2/+0 for each equipment attached to him. And a 5 mana ability, 3 black white. Return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield with finality counter on him. Then you may attach an equipment you control to him. So another equipment payoff here. In black white, which we talked about yesterday, is probably the best place for equipment because you want your creatures to be attacking alone.
I think this is just fine without equipment, though.
Yeah, no, totally. Like 2/2 Vigilant Menace, sure.
With flashback.
Yeah, well, yeah, with flashback for sure. Yeah, nothing wrong with it at all.
Yeah, I like this card. I gave it a B. You gave it a B minus.
We've got Cloak and Dagger Entwined up next. 1 black white for a 2/2 legendary hero at rare. They have lifelink and death touch, and say when it enters, choose target opponent and up to 1 target creature they control. They reveal their hand. You may exile a non-land card from their hand or the chosen creature until Cloak and Dagger leaves the battlefield. Really cool card. Yeah, so like sort of a Banisher Priest, whatever you want to call it, like cheap white creature comes in, exile something till it leaves. Can also take from their hand. Also has relevant keyword abilities. Like usually these kind of small nab one of your creature cards are like not that relevant in combat, but this one is.
It's also just really nice that even if you think you're going to take something on board, just seeing your opponent's hand is
Yeah,
worth so much.
that's huge. Absolutely. Yeah, and like getting to choose after you see their hand seems like a very powerful card to me.
It's tokens too, which a lot of them don't in this set.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like hitting a token and then having a death touch lifelinker seems like a nice clean 2-for-1. So very very interested in this card. We both gave it a B plus.
And for what it's worth, it is a pretty good card to have being like your thing that attacks alone, right? It's like Death Touch Lifelinker if you can help let it survive combat somehow. All right. Another black white rare here, the Kingpin of Crime. 1 black white for a 1/5 legendary villain at rare. It's got Extort. And Extort says whenever you cast a spell, you may pay either white or black, and if you do, each opponent loses a life and you gain that much life. Whenever you attack, you can pay 2 life, and if you do, until end of turn, creatures you control with toughness greater than their power assign combat damage equal to their toughness rather than their power. So you can have this attack for 5 on turn 4 if you'd like.
The last couple extort cards have underperformed, which I was kind of sad about because I really liked playing with extort back
Mm-hmm.
in Guild Pack all those years ago, or Gate Crash, not Guild Pact, all those years ago. This format being a bit slower, I'm optimistic, and then it can hit pretty hard.
Yeah, this thing, like, isn't that just like forget about the extort part. Kind of feel like 3 mana 5/5 on attacks, pay 2 life is already pretty good.
Well, we saw the Gut Splitter Gang or whatever it was, which was a 4 mana 6/6 that had to pay life every turn. Like
Yeah,
paying life is a big deal.
it is, but that was mandatory. That cost more. You couldn't like choose not to pay. Like you would just have this as a blocker if you don't want to pay. I'm not trying to say the life gain or the life loss doesn't matter. It does for sure. I just think like the fact that you can choose is a big deal.
I'm just tempering it a little
For
bit. That
sure.
I mean, that thing also blocked as a 6/6, and you could
Yeah,
blight instead of losing the life. So
that's
there
fair.
was still something there. But yeah, I'm still interested in this card. Just a little less than you. You gave it a B. I am on a B minus.
Next is Vision Quest. X blue red for a sorcery at rare. Search your library and or graveyard for an artifact creature card with mana value X or less. Put it onto the battlefield with X additional +1/+1 counters on it. If X is 4 or more, that creature gains haste until end of turn. And if you search your library, this way shuffle.
I think you're too low on this card. I'm pretty confident about that.
Really? Okay, so what do we give it for starters?
I gave it an A minus. You gave it a B,
Mm-hmm.
and I could even see it being just like a straight A.
Okay, well, talk me up. Let's that sounds very high to me, but talk me up.
Okay, so any blue red deck is probably going to have some number of artifacts. Realistically, you only need like two 4 drops in your deck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because this can be library or graveyard. So you pay 6 mana. You get your, let's say it's, I don't know, it could be Herbie, the 2/1 draw card. It could be the 3/2 prowess red common that like flips a card that you can play till the end of your next turn.
Yep.
It could be the blue red Iron Man, like uncommon signpost. But if you're hitting something that costs 4, you're getting that 4 drop with 4 counters on it and haste. So like Herbie for 6 mana becomes a 6/5 flying haste draw card. Like that's extremely scary. And you can scale up from there. So I'm just gonna have some water.
Yeah. No, yeah, like I mean, I said convince me. You kind of just like read out the card and what it does, and I'm a little more convinced. I don't know. I think I maybe just like didn't parse this right the first time. Like I agree. I'm too low on it probably. That sounds real great. I have nothing else to add. So yeah, I'll join you.
Yeah, you also have like flexibility too, because you can get X or less. So you can decide how many counters you want, and you can decide what like utility creature you want to get. Like you probably have multiple options with this.
Yeah, chat says it's a lot of ifs though. No, I don't think so. Like it's, I mean, it does have the word if a few times, but like Mark said, you just have to like most blue red decks are gonna have enough creatures. I guess it sucks if you have drawn all of your artifact creatures, but then no, it doesn't even suck because you can get them from
No,
the graveyard. So I don't think it's a lot of ifs. I think this is a pretty straightforward like put it in most blue red decks is gonna do good thing kind of card.
like even getting a 2 drop with 2 additional counters for 4 mana. Like let's
Yeah,
say you're behind on board and you can't hold it till 6 7 mana. Any like let's say you just get the 1/3 surveil 2 common, which is like not that exciting of a target. That becomes a 3/5 surveil 2 for 4 mana, which is totally fine.
yeah, that's fine. No, I agree. I'll join you. No further questioning. Next is Armor Wars, 2 blue red for another saga here. First chapter is you may draw a card for each artifact you control. If you do, each opponent draws a card. Second chapter, artifact spells you cast this turn cost 1 less to cast. Third chapter, the saga deals X damage to target opponent, where X is the greatest mana value among artifacts you control. Okay, another like they've really like tempered most of these sagas. Where it's just like, okay, it's not guaranteed to be awesome. Your opponent draws a card. That's already like, okay, I've got to make sure I'm really going off with it if I'm doing that, if I'm doing the first chapter. And then the second chapter is likely to be good if after you've drawn a bunch. And the third chapter is like a little bit of a bonus. So it's like a big draw spell that makes some mana. And you really have to have a deck that supports it. Because if you're giving your opponent a card, like I want to be drawing, 3 cards myself when I cast it.
Yeah, I was gonna say this. Like if chapter 1 just said draw a card,
Mm-hmm.
this card wouldn't be very exciting. And draw 2, let your opponent draw 1 is worse than draw a card.
Yes. Draw 3, let your opponent draw 1 is like fine. You're not super excited, but you're also like, all right, I don't feel like I'm throwing things here.
Yeah. So not too excited about this thing. We both gave it a C minus.
Next up, we've got the Serpent Society. This is 1 black green for a 3/4 legendary villain at rare. Sorry, I don't think I said it, but that last saga is also a rare. So yeah, Serpent Society, 3 mana, 3/4, has Death Touch, and ward. Weird ward cost here. The ward cost is get 5 poison counters. And of course, if you have 10 poison counters, you lose the game. Whenever another creature you control with Death Touch dies, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature of their choice. Interesting one.
I'm mostly just interested in a 3/4 death touch for 3 mana, to be honest.
That is a very good ability, yeah. The ward cost is like kind of fake though, right? Like who cares? Like, if you get 5 poison counters, I guess if this dies and then they bring it back, it's essentially hexproof. But like, yeah, the first time you target it, whatever.
Yeah, there is that proliferate common, but we talked about
True.
yesterday. But that's more of a pipe dream than anything.
Yeah, totally. So let's look at that last ability then. There's a little bit of death touch. Like there's the 1 mana 1/1 green death touch. Is there like a black death touch creature? There's the
Yeah, the
4
one that
mana
one that
black
makes
touch.
this card.
The one that makes you discard. Oh yes, that's wait. Oh yes, the 3 mana 2/2 with power up, of course. So they're there. Yeah, there's some death touch here and there, and that's like a
It's also
pretty good ability, right? Like making your
the,
opponent
the
sack
minus
something.
the -2/-2 also can give death touch too, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah. The Widow's Bite or something. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I like this, but I'm fine with it. If it just said 3/4 death touch, I'd still be relatively happy with this. I gave it a B. You gave it a B minus.
Next, we have The Coming of Galactus, which is a mythic saga. 2 black, green. First chapter, destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. Second and third chapter are both each opponent loses 2 life. Fourth chapter, create Galactus, a legendary 16/16 black elder alien creature token with flying trample, and whenever Galactus attacks, destroy target land. Yep, that sure is a card.
And of course, the 16/16 isn't exactly enough to kill them if they've lost 2 life twice. So
Yep.
yeah, the joke is that it just kills them in one shot. But I mean, they can block, but this thing is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, I think they've actually done a really good job of differentiating mythic and rare power level in this set. Like, we haven't really seen. There's a couple of the white ones that are really, really good, but like most of the like, holy crap, this is crazy cards do live in mythic. So that's always nice.
Well, there's still one more rare we got to get to.
That's true. Yeah. I'm jumping the gun here. This is some anti foreshadowing. All right, so quick grade on Coming of Galactus. Great card. What do we give it?
Both gave it an A.
Yeah. We've got Daredevil, Man Without Fear up next. This is 2 red-white for a 3/4 legendary hero at rare. Vigilance and Haste. Has a radar sense. You can look at the top card of your library at any time. Whenever you attack, you may exile the top card of your library. If that card is a hero card, Daredevil gets +2/+1 until end of turn, and you may play that card this turn. Those abilities are not connected, though. By the way, you can always play the card. He only gets pumped if it's a hero, though.
And also, just in case you, I mean, are sick of reading endless words and gloss over a little bit, it does not need to be Daredevil attacking for that to trigger.
Yes, whenever you attack. That's just so you just get it right away. I guess you could get it right away anyways because it has haste, but you don't need to risk Daredevil in combat.
Well, but I'm assuming the play pattern is on turn 4, you play this attack, and of course you won't be able to play the card. But then next turn, when they know that this thing's coming, you can decide to like just send in a flyer or even suicide in something if you need to just find another card. So it's definitely going to be relevant that it's not necessary for it to attack.
Yeah, for sure. Very strong card though.
Okay. Yep, both gave it an A minus, and yeah, this thing and like Wolverine and Avengers Under Siege, Cloak and Dagger are all highly splashable. I'm looking forward to putting some brews together.
Yeah. All right. We've got a pretty crazy one here. So this is a rare saga. The Superhero Civil War. 3 red-white. First chapter. Gain control of up to 2 target creatures with total mana value 6 or less for as long as this saga remains on the battlefield. Chapter 2. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain vigilance until end of turn. Chapter 3. Target creature you control fights up to 1 other target creature. That is a... Yeah, like I definitely spoke a little too soon with the... all the busted cards are at Mythic. I think this is the card you were thinking of, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So, like, let's see how this plays out. Let's just assume you cast this on turn 5. You steal a 4-drop and a 2-drop, let's say. That's already devastating. Like, you steal it for 2 combats, 2 blocking cycles, 1 attack cycle. Pumps the team, and then you, if you want, if it lines up nicely, you can have them both fight each other. Maybe they both die. I guess if you're taking a 2 and a 4, not likely, but you take 2 3/3s. those creatures can just fight himself, and your opponent doesn't get them back. Or you just have one of the creatures you're about to give back to them fight one of their biggest things. You can still get a 2-for-1, even if the things you steal aren't evenly static, right? Because, like, you steal their 4-4, they play another 4-4, okay, those things fight. Crazy.
Yeah, that says doesn't untap some less blocking cycles, but I think you mean like they can't block for 2 turns.
Sorry, my bad. Yes, that's what I meant. They 2 turns where they don't have those creatures as blockers. Thank you.
You can block with them for 2 turns as well if they're untapped creatures, but a lot of steal effects untap them, and this one notably doesn't.
Yes, that's a good point too.
Card's great. I was a little lower than you, and maybe shouldn't have been because you gave this an A+, and I gave this an A.
Oh, a little bit of a wrinkle here. Maybe this is true. So, isn't the Saga Sacrifice at 3 and counters the you control part? So, can you not have? Yeah, you'll give the creatures back before that 3rd chapter is off, right?
I am not sure. I when you read it, I just chose to believe you. I have no clue if you can use your creatures for the 3rd chapter or not.
No, the Saga gets sacrificed after the ability has resolved. Okay. It works the way you want it to. Never mind. Don't worry about that.
It seems like it should, right?
Yeah,
like, otherwise,
right.
It's kind of a weird ability to include on there.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like much of a Civil War, if not. All right, A+ for that busted card. Next up, we've got the Astonishing Ant-Man, which is blue-green for a 1/1 legendary hero at rare. Whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Ant-Man, and you can pay 2 and a green, tap Ant-Man, remove any number of +1/+1 counters from Ant-Man, and make that many 1/1 green insect tokens.
Yeah, the first of 4 blue-green rares. We talked about being a little dubious on blue-green yesterday, and they've kind of given it some extra support at the rare slot. So this one I think is fine, but a couple of them are pretty good. This one I'm less excited about. We both gave it a C.
Yeah, just kind of seems fine. Like, if it started as a 2/2, I'd be pretty into it, but, like, it is a little bit slow to get going. Next up is Absorbing Man, which is 1 blue-green for a 4/4 legendary villain at rare. It's got Vigilance, and at the beginning of your first main phase, until your next turn, Absorbing Man becomes a copy of up to 1 target artifact, non-aura enchantment, or land. Except his name is Absorbing Man still, and he's still a legendary 4/4 villain. Also, he has Vigilance still, so it keeps basically all of his properties, and you just get to get the properties of something else. It's good stats. Yeah, good.
At worst, this is a 3 mana 4/4 vigilance like mana dork.
Mana dork, yeah, because you can just choose a land. That's good. Like, that's just good stats.
Yes. Yeah, I'm pretty interested in this. I gave Absorbing Man a B. You gave him a B-.
Yeah, just seems good. Next up is Moon Girl and Devil Girl. 1 blue-green for a 2/2 legendary hero. Whenever you draw your 2nd card each turn, until end of turn, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur base power and toughness become 6/6 and they gain trample. Whenever an artifact you control enters, you draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn.
Kind of nice that this lets you either get rewarded for the draw 2, but like especially for playing artifacts, but again, not like a blue-red card. So kind of weird that it's like the real thing you want to do with this is have more artifacts, because then you of course the joke is you play the artifact, you draw the 2nd card, and then you become a 6/6.
And it's like really good if you can do that, right? Like, if you cast an artifact the next turn, like we've used Herbie as an example basically all episodes, so we'll just keep using that. Herbie, the 2/1 4-mana flyer, draws a card. Like, that seems great. You draw 2 on that turn, you get to attack for 6.
Draw 3 on that turn.
Oh sure, because your draw step. Yeah.
Yeah. You 2 more. Yeah. So, yeah, pretty into this. I can't think of any green artifacts, so like you do need to rely more on colorless and blue cards, or maybe splashing this. And a little bit fragile, but we both gave it a C+.
Yeah, I think splashing in blue-green seems like in blue-red seems like the most common home for this. Okay, this next one's a little bit funky. World Within Worlds, 5 green blue for a sorcery at rare. Exile all creatures. Each player may put any number of creature cards from their hand onto the battlefield, then put all cards exiled this way into their owner's hand. Exile worlds within worlds. So like you swap hand and battlefield is what that comes down to, right?
Yeah, living death from the hand.
Right.
It's a weird one.
Any applications for this? Like, how do you break the symmetry? Do you ever want to play this card?
I think the only way this works is if you're drawing a lot of cards,
Mm-hmm.
because then like it's pretty good if you have a ton of cards in hand. Because you just like the board becomes clear and your hand gets dumped into play. Like that sounds possible to me.
Yeah. Seems a bit inconsistent, but I agree there's like something there.
I did keep moving it down and down and down and down, and eventually decided to join you at an F.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't completely unplayable.
Same, but I feel okay giving it an F, and if I'm wrong, that's okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to Thanos, the Mad Titan. This is Mardu mana, red, black, white, 4/4 legendary villain and mythic. Death Touch and Lifelink. I'm gonna stop there for a second because there's another ability, but like, how do we feel about Mardu mana 4/4 Death Touch Lifelink?
Like it's pretty hard to cast, and if you're casting it as a 5 drop or 6 drop, I don't think it's going to be that exciting. Like
Right? Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah. This is like an efficiency card where you kind of need to have better mana than we usually get in limited. Like in constructed, you can cast this on turn 3 pretty often, but like in limited, you're gonna be splashing this, and so you're not always gonna have it on 3. Also, like red white probably doesn't want to splash all that much. So yeah, I'm not super thrilled about that. Power up ability here. It's a 6 mana ability, Wooburg plus colorless. So even trickier than Wooburg. Put 2+1/+1 counters on Thanos, and then choose even or odd. Snaps his fingers and destroys each other creature with the mana value of the chosen quality. So yeah, pretty nice engineerable field wipe, but like very difficult to activate.
Yes, and yeah, the fact that your land that like filters the colors can't produce colorless unless it's not filtering the colors makes things pretty awkward.
Oh, I see.
So
Yeah.
there are a number of lands that produce colorless, but those are also the same ones. Like again, the villain one too. Like I think might tap for colorless. But again, if you need to cast Thanos with it, you can't use it for colorless then. So it's a little even trickier than it may seem at first glance.
Yeah, we are going to get to a cycle of rare duels that make colorless mana. So that's another way to do it too. But yeah, cool card. Like it's definitely a Dreamer's card. But I think for set reviewing purposes, we're not going to be too high on it.
No, I gave it a D. You gave it a D+.
Next, on to artifacts. So first artifact is Super Adaptoid. 2 mana for a star 2 legendary artifact villain. It's a rare. Power is equal to the number of legendary creatures you control. And whenever Super Adaptoid enters or attacks, choose another target creature. If that creature has haste, Super Adaptoid doesn't. Put a haste counter on Super Adaptoid. You do the same for flying, first strike, double strike, death touch, indestructible, lifelink, menace, reach, and trample.
And so vigilance even.
Oh, vigilance too. Yeah, I didn't read the last one. I just got bored. I couldn't bear to read any more keywords. So, gonna be a 2/2 quite often. Like 1 power spots itself the first power, and there's so many legends in this set that like 2/2 is gonna be pretty easy. 3 power gonna be pretty common too, I would say.
And the fact that it does it on attacks too is pretty nice because you can just kind of wait for them to have a flyer and then be like, yep. I'm getting flying now too.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like a pretty solid card. I think you would play this in basically any deck. What did we give it?
We both gave it a C+.
Yep. Captain America's Shield. 2 mana for a legendary equipment at rare. It's indestructible. Has an equip cost of 2. The equipped creature gets +0/+8 and has vigilance. And when the equipped creature attacks, tap target creature defending player controls. This one's interesting. It's neither amazing nor bad. It's kind of like a middle of the road equipment. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. And the fact that there's a lot of equipment synergies makes me
Hmm.
more interested in basically anything that I'm like fine with playing.
Yeah, like a passable equipment is a little bit better than it normally would be. Plus eight's a lot. Like, actually, maybe this card's actually kind of just good, because
It does help on offense and defense,
and like plus eight actually does insulate versus a lot of the removal. Like no green or red removal is killing the creature you have equipped.
right? And it has vigilance, so like you can keep attacking and you're tapping
Yeah,
whatever their best blocker is. I think this card's fine. I'm a little lower than you, and maybe I shouldn't be. So maybe it's even kind of good.
yeah. What do we give it?
You gave it a C. I gave it a C minus.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna. It's probably gonna go pretty early, I think, in the draft. At least early on in the format. Like it's pretty flashy. But as the format goes on, this might be when you get a little bit later, and then yeah, nice for those equipment decks. The Vision. Do you see the Vision, Mark? It's right in front of you. This is a single, oh sorry, a 4 mana 2/5 legendary artifact hero. It's got flying and vigilance, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Solar Beam. The Vision gains double strike until end of turn. Destiny Control. The Vision gains indestructible until end of turn. Technopathy. I guess that's how you'd say that. Draw a card. So yeah, all good options. Nothing too bad about this card other than it's a 4 mana known to the battlefield, no protection effect creature. Worth it when you attack with it though. Like those are all pretty good abilities.
And it can be like a 5 mana creature with protection if you have the right cards.
Yeah. Yeah, just have a cheap instant up or something.
Yeah, one of them being indestructible is very nice for
Yeah,
this.
for sure, for sure. I think even in
Yeah,
like,
this is.
oh, sorry, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say this is one of the cards I'd be most happy with first picking. I gave it a B plus. You gave it a B.
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of add on to that. I think you're happy to first pick this. Most decks in this format are gonna have enough non-creatures. Like I don't think there's gonna be too many like 18 creature decks. You're gonna end up with eight non-creatures on average. Yeah, cool card. Arc Reactor up next. 5 mana for an artifact at rare. Has improvise, which again means you can tap your artifacts to help pay for this. It enters tapped, and you tap this to add colorless, colorless, colorless. I'm gonna put the commander card stamp on this one and move on. Any
Yep,
more
quick
to
up.
add for this? Yeah.
No, easy F.
Okay, easy F. Cool. Iron Man Armor. 3 mana for an equipment at Mythic. When this equipment enters, attach it to target creature you control. The equipped creature gets +2/+1 and it has flying. Equip cost of 2. You can also pay 2. If this equipment isn't a creature, it becomes a 0/0 construct artifact creature with flying, and this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control until end of turn. Okay, this is a good equipment. Like auto equips, +2 in flying, or +2/+1 in flying. Also does something when you don't have other creatures. That's always a nice thing to have on an equipment.
Yes, this is very nice to have, and we both gave it a B plus. I don't think you even need to have, like, you don't need to worry about being the artifacts deck to play this. You're just happy to play it pretty much anywhere.
Yep, totally agree. Next is Ultron, Artificial Malevolence. This is 3 mana for a 2/4 legendary artifact villain at Mythic. Whenever another non-token artifact you control enters, you can pay 2. If you do, create a token that's a copy of it. If the token isn't a creature, it becomes a 2/2 robot villain creature in addition to its other types. Okay, yeah, like really good artifact payoff. Like nothing too fancy to say about it, but you cast artifacts, you copy them, good things happen.
Yeah, there's a similar card in Neon Dynasty that was like a 5 mana 3/4 flyer or something like that. That wasn't great. Like you don't usually have a lot of extra artifacts to play because you're trying to curve out and it's hard to play off curve.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but in the super late game, like anything you draw, you're going to be pretty happy with this.
Yeah, yeah, it's a scary card. It's another one of those cards too that like your opponent probably just goes, I think I have to kill this on turn 3, even if they like if they looked at your hand and saw you no artifacts, they wouldn't care. But like, it is a scary card, so that counts for something.
Yeah, you gave it a C plus. I gave it a C.
Next is Cosmic Cube. 5 mana for an artifact at Mythic. It has Ward 2. Whenever you attack, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may cast a spell from among them with mana value less than or equal to the greatest power among attacking creatures you control without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So definitely, you gotta put this in a deck with a lot of creatures. That's kind of a given. It's obvious, but really want to hammer that home, because if you ever play this and you don't attack with it the turn you cast it, that's pretty darn bad. That's really bad. But if instead you've gone 2, 3, 4 this, that's really good. Like, you're gonna feel pretty good about that.
It's still like you also need fairly large creatures too.
Right. Like, this is like kind of a green card in some ways.
It seems like a number of things need to go because you're 2 grades higher than me on this. You gave it a B minus, I gave it a C.
Mm-hmm.
It does seem kind of finicky to me a little bit.
It does. I agree. I just kind of think that while there are some spots where it's just like, okay, you don't have the time to fit into the curve, or you don't have the creatures on the board, I just think the times you actually get to do the thing, which is get your first hit, or first good attack, because then it helps you continue to have good attacks. You maybe hit a removal spell, you maybe hit a big creature off of this, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure on this one. I just for like any card that requires you to already have a good attack to do like literally anything
Mm-hmm.
always kind of raises some alarm bells for me.
Yeah, I know, me too. Like, that's baked into my assessment, I think, but like, I don't know. I still feel pretty good about it.
Okay.
Yep. Next up, the 10 Rings. 8 mana for a legendary artifact Mythic. Your hand side is 10, and at the beginning of your end step, if you have fewer than 10 cards, you draw the difference. Yeah, or draw cards equal to the difference. This thing just decks you so quickly. Like, you're just gonna die to this thing a little too quick, yeah? And also, it's 8
And
mana.
too much mana, yeah, F
Yeah.
for both of us.
Yep, agree. Castle Doom is a land at rare. Taps add colorless. Taps add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast artifact spells. You can also pay 3 and tap it to sacrifice an artifact. Create a 3/3 colorless robot villain artifact token named Doombot. Activate only as a sorcery. Okay, yeah, so
Sure.
it's colorless for a lot of spells. Actually, like the vast majority of the spells, because even artifact spells are colorless in a lot of cases. I guess the question is like,
Well,
so yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
no, no, finish your thought. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, how many artifacts are you gonna have that are worse than a 3/3, right?
That's kind of where I was going to go with this because I think most things that you sacrifice won't be like major upgrades into the 3/3.
Right. Like you mentioned, there are not a ton of tokens in this set, like the trinkety treasure, maps, clues, food. They're here and there, they exist, but you kind of have to pick up some specific cards if you're looking to combo those with anything.
Yeah, like curving the, funnily enough, it's probably more of a blue red card, but curving the green ant thing into this isn't too bad.
The 3 mana 3/2 that makes a token.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to play this. I don't think you should take it very highly, but some decks are just going to have like some number of tokeny things or things you don't mind sacrificing.
Yep. You gave this a C plus. I was lower at a C minus.
And then we go to, I think, the last set of cards here. Let me just double check, confirm that. Yeah, last set of cards we're going to talk about today, the rare dual lands. So there's 5 of them. They're the allied colors, so blue, black, red, green, white, green, black, red, and they're actually really, really good for limited. They're very close to original dual lands. So they tap to add colorless mana, or they tap to add one of their 2 colors. In the case of Hidden Layer here, blue or black. Activate this only if a land entered this turn, or if you control a basic land, which is very, very hard to find a spot in a game of limited where, like, one of those things are not the case, right? On turn 1, this adds blue or black because it has entered, and then later in the game, unless you just have, like, a ton of tapped lands, like non-basics, it's basically just going to be untapped blue-black mana.
But also, if you are in that spot where, let's say, your only other 2 lands are dual lands, your mana's probably fine anyways.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. And like I mentioned a minute ago, these do make colorless mana, so for your Thanos dreams, they are good for that.
Yeah, very solid cards. These are strong enough that we all gave them all B minuses.
There is a bonus sheet for this set. We're not going to cover it because it's extremely rare to see a card on the bonus list. It's like one every draft, I think, like at the whole table. So if you care to, you can go look at the list on like Scryfall or something. There are some pretty good cards on the list, like some pretty powerful stuff. There's like Sword of Fire and Ice. What else is there? I don't know. So there's some bangers on here. Keep an eye out if you want to be the most prepared you possibly can. But yeah, we're not going to cover it today. So we'll say that's it. And thanks for watching and listening. Mark, any last thoughts before we pack up?
I will, as always, say thanks for having me. These are always a blast, and it's unfortunate because of my schedule we couldn't do this post early access because it's kind of nice to include the thoughts from there as well. But I'm assuming you will be streaming tomorrow, so if anyone wants to come check out the first look at what the set plays out like, I'm assuming they can watch you live on Twitch playing some early access tomorrow.
Yep, that's exactly it. I'll be streaming for like probably 3 or 4 hours tomorrow. I'll probably post some early access drafts to the YouTube. And if you did make it this far and you want to support what we're doing here, you want to see us keep the lights on, as it were, you can check out the Patreon, patreon.com/limitedlevelups. Check it out if you have enjoyed what's going on here. And we'll say good luck. Hope everybody enjoys their early access. Or sorry, I mean, if you're playing early access, hope you enjoy. But your early drafts, your pre-release, all that stuff. And Mark, thank you so much. Chat, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you later.